Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. Watch me elevate. I was born to win, watch me elevate. I was born to win, watch me elevate. Watch me elevate. Yeah. All in when I show up. Whole place about to blow up. Superior to that competition. I'm in first place, yeah, that's how I'm living. With it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I step up into place. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate. I was born and when I watched me elevate. Getting hype when I aim up, elevating that game up, stepping up to the competition. Only first place, and that's how I'm living. I'm with it till they digging up my grave, eating all the things up on my plate. Game face when I...
Welcome back to Retro Blasting's favorite podcast. It's that show that everybody talks shit about, the show that never ends, the show that never stops. You can't drop us, you can't stop us. We're the motherfucking brand show, so stuff us in a cornucopia. Happy Samhain, happy holidays, happy whatever the fuck it is. Welcome back to the brand show. My name is Billy Nichols. You can call me the brand, you can call me Quicksilver. Please do not call me late to lunch.
I'm the Zero Hero, host of Rolled, filling in for Smalls, who is still away. We wish him the best. He is dealing with some stuff, and we are looking forward to his return. Also, Billy, I'm pretty sure based on the clip you just sent me, it is called Sam Hain.
Sam Hain.
It's Sam Hain. Like, you would think as a Halloween fan, you would know how to pronounce Sam Hain.
Well, the actual terminology is Samhain, but for the sake of the late great Donald Pleasance, rest in peace, it's Sam Hain. Happy Halloween, guys! Welcome back to the brand show. It's so good to be back with you guys. It was a long hiatus. Good to be here. Happy to be back on the air, as Zero mentioned. Smalls is not going to be with us tonight, unfortunately, and I got to take a minute to get on my horse and talk about why. First of all, I want to send my condolences to the Campbell family. Chrissy, our dear friend Chrissy Campbell, Small's co-parent, Hattie's mother, has left this earth, unfortunately. Tonight, we will be taking donations for the American Liver Society. One of us will pop that in the chat somewhere throughout the show. If not, you guys can go over to AmericanLiverSociety.org, I believe is the website. Make sure, if you can donate. It's a very, very terrible thing to see someone at the age of 35 lose their life. So tonight is dedicated to Smalls and Chrissy. We love you guys. We wish you were with us. Chrissy, wherever you are, just know we're all watching over Smalls. We're all watching over Hattie, I promise you. We love you, but the show must go on. And unfortunately, without Smalls, I had to bring in the big guns. Now, Zero, you do a lot around here. Why don't you tell the people who you are? Like, beyond the host of Rolled, you have a new podcast coming out on a bunch of nerds media called Nerd Fight. You're also our social media manager. Tell them the bullshit you have to do.
I just do so much stuff all the time, and I'm so tired forever. Because along with Nerd Fight coming out in 2023, where I will be picking fights with literally anybody that wants to fight me on various nerd topics like Autobots versus Decepticons, Ninja Turtles versus G.I. Joe versus Mask, etc., etc., etc. Also, somewhere on there, I'm gonna probably try to fight my wife on Western RPGs versus JRPGs. So come watch me fight my wife.
Do we have an idea when in 2023 that Nerd Fight is going to launch?
Let me get back to past the holidays and at least January 15th. I don't want to get too tied up before Christine's birthday.
All right. Well, guys, get out your milk duds, grab yourself a sparkling ice out of the fridge, and don't forget to take your fiber along with your edibles because you're old and need to go to bed soon. Tonight, our guest is going to be Czarface founding member and quite possibly one of the top 10 greatest MCs of all time in Esoteric. Yes, Boston's own Esoteric. We've been teasing it since September. I know that you guys have been hearing the hints, listening to everything that we said about this. Before this show goes any further, I know she's watching. First and foremost, a very happy anniversary to my wife, Rebecca. 8 beautiful years together, 8 wonderful years of ups and downs that we've gotten through. I love you very much. And
Rebecca, my condolences.
Yeah, mine too. You married me, for Christ's sakes. Anyway, but tonight's episode is literally all in debt to Rebecca. This connection, this episode, everything about it happened because Rebecca happened to know Esoteric. This came out of left field. It was a great conversation. We've been talking on and off for months. I've pitched him everything from a rap about Zodak to funny in-between content that we never got to film, but that's okay. Let's get right into this show. There's a lot of stuff to talk about. Let's talk about weekly purchases. Now, Zero, I know you're kind of different on the weekly purchases. For those of you who do know Zero, he loves to bake, he loves to cook things, and he has an arsenal of recipes, and he is probably the most wholesome dad in the state of Pennsylvania. So why don't you start us off?
So my recipe that I did this week is we had a Halloween party coming up last week, and my favorite bakery that was closed for a year and a half just abruptly reopened, and I didn't know this till I went to grab a sledgehammer from a friend who lives across the street. So I bought bread there.
Wait a minute. This isn't Mindy's Bakery in Chicago where CM Punk gets his muffins, is it?
This is not. This is a little local place called Luna's Bakery. The place that I only learned, I don't speak Spanish. I'm very bad at other languages, but I've learned enough to ask for 2 loaves of bread and the pastries that I like. So I bought bread from there and made mocha bread pudding. Ooh. And I also got this.
Oh, hello. So
and Reddit.
A Czar is Born is written by our guest tonight, Esoteric, also known as Seamus Ryan. So I have a copy of it on the other side of the room as it was gifted to me by Eso, along with this Czar Noir Super 7 reaction figure. Bobby Vala's favorite company, Super 7. Oh man, he's gonna hate me by the end of this show with the amount of Super 7 shit I bought this week. So you read the book. Tell me about it. I haven't had a chance to sit down and read it yet.
It is a really cool origin story that does not operate in any fashion that I thought it was. I actually expected Seamus to sit there and be very focused on, like, look at me, I'm Czarface, and it's not. It's written with a lot of points that I would have never seen coming. It's run really well, and I would honestly read a lot more of it. And you could tell it comes from somebody that loves hip-hop, wrestling, and comic books.
Well, I mean, he fits right in the dynamic of this show, plain and simple. we talked about this. I told him how we literally talk in references and we just crack jokes about stupid shit like the Halloween 2 Sam Hain reference. It's one of those things that's really good. So is that all you purchased this week? Because it seems like a light week for you. No other recipes?
I mean, there's stuff in this corner that you can't see that I cannot show you because it belongs to my wife for Christmas, you see. And I know she's in the chat. She cannot know. And she doesn't do basements, so it's safe down here.
Christine, if you have not married this man yet, please marry him. He loves you very much.
I mean, it's been 12 years.
Marry him again. Just do it.
We've been together for like 12 years. I don't know what she sees in the last 12 years, but I'm just glad she sticks around.
I mean, listen, I've known you just a little bit longer than she has, and I'm quite sure I know why she sticks around. And I mean that with all the love and all the respect in the universe. So if that's all you got for weekly purchases, let me kick it off. I want to give a shout out to my friend Katie over at GameStop. I almost said Gatey, and I'm really bummed about that. Anyway, so my friend Katie gave me a call and told me that they had done a raffle for Modern Warfare 2, and I won a $100 GameStop gift card. So I bought the new King in Black, Donny Cates, Ryan Stegman, Venom. As you can see, King in Black, Venom, and Marvel's Null. Great figures. If you look at my Instagram, at Billy Nichols Brand, I did a really cool collab with my friend.
They were dope pictures.
Oh yeah, I did a really cool collaboration with my friend Lone Wolf Labs, who just made me a really cool castle setup, and I put Null in it. That was cool. I'm really excited about that. I don't know. What do I show him next? Do I show him wrestling or do I show him Ninja Turtles?
Ninja Turtles is the answer all the time. Look, you talk about wrestling so much, and I don't even know wrestling since 1992. I know Ninja Turtles.
Okay, well, let's start out with this, and I'm actually going to announce a guest on this one. It's not a figure of said guest, but I did, thanks to our good friends at Nick's Comic Strip. I get all my comic books at Nick's Comic Strip. Free plug for you, Nicky Yomi. I did get these super sweet NECA X Universal Monsters figures. I got the Bride of Frankenstein, which is based on Judith Hogue, which is really cool. This figure is ultra toyetic. I'm a big fan of it. This might be my favorite one in the series, especially because she comes with the radio staff, which is really cool. Now, in second place in that line, okay, Raphael and Leonardo are amazing figs. Love them. But this fig has to be my favorite because it almost takes on a meme of its own because it comes with an extra head. This is the Michelangelo as Mummy figure. Was not expecting this. I was hoping he was Invisible Man like the original Playmates line, but that's okay. Because look at that. Because cowabunga it is, my friends. Cowabunga it is. Just a great figure. Really cool. Now, I'm going to do something fun. We're gonna open something here. Not completely open, but we're going to open something from our dear friend Bobby Vala's favorite company, Super 7. I was able to secure the Slash figure once again thanks to Nick's Comic Strip. Nick's Comic Strip. I haven't opened it yet, so I'm really excited to look at this. I'm going to give you guys the first look at it. So this is based on the original Playmates figure, as we all know, and I did see some news today that apparently Playmates threw a fit knowing that Super 7 remade their figures. I don't know how true it is. I saw it on one of the podcasts I follow on TikTok.
Well, if you saw it on the internet, we all know if you see it on the internet, it must be true.
No. But this podcast actually, they're friends of Steve Archer's from Hey Archer. Actually, and here they are. The Reluctant Adult podcast was the one who actually reported on this. They said that they had an internal source at Super 7 and that Playmates threw a fit. I asked one of my sources at Super 7. I got no comment out of it. So let's just show you the Slash, though. It's cool. Based on the original figure.
That's dope.
That's real dope. Figure.
That's really dope.
I can't wait to unbox this. I'm going to have this on Unboxed in 60 by Friday. So, guys, if you don't follow us over on TikTok, tiktok.com/abunchofnerd. Or a bunch of nerds. It's one or the other. I don't even know. But the fact of the matter is we've been creating content there since February. And I also want to thank you guys. 1,000 follows passed this week on TikTok. We're so proud of it. We've all been working so hard at this. Thank you for helping us to integrate into TikTok. We're a bunch of old guys. TikTok really isn't somewhere that we normally are, but we really appreciate all your support and all your love. It's really fun to unbox toys, watch Jay talk about, tabletop games and learn about tabletop games through his experiences, as well as hear Smalls talk about records. It's so fun, guys. Now, I finally pulled the trigger, and I swear my wife almost divorced me on this one, okay? This is a big one, guys. Get ready. I finally obtained Scratch. I finally have Scratch.
So what you're saying is you were finally able to scratch that itch.
Scratch that figure itch? The joke here is, guys, this isn't the original, but this is the Super 7 version. As you can see, he's got his cake gun, which is really cool. There's a lot of other accessories I haven't taken out of the box yet. Really excited about this. Scratch was one of my favorite figures that I never had when I was a kid, but I now have a Scratch, and that's cool. Now, also, while we were away, I did pick up a couple more AEW chases. I know what you're thinking. This is chase number 10. This is Cody Rhodes, AEW Unmatched, which leads me to my next point. I am really excited to announce that the brand show has partnered with our good friends from Ringside Collectibles. So, guys, if you're a wrestling figure collector, you like MMA figures, AEW, WWE, basics, retros, no matter what it is, you can save 10% at ringsidecollectibles.com by using code THEBRAND. And, well, hey, you're welcome. Now, with that being said, that's exciting news, but also I want to let you know that tonight's episode is brought to you by our sponsors at PrepU. PrepU products make products that are vegan, cruelty-free, and pretty fantastic for guys. Feel great in your own skin just like I do and save 10% by using code THEBRAND over at prepuproducts.com. Yes, I know, Michelle, whatever. So anyway, let's get right into it. We got some housekeeping to do. Esoteric's just about 14 minutes away, so we're going to get that rocking and rolling in the next few minutes here. We will bring him on board. But tonight, man, it's been a busy week in gaming and a few other things. I want to start off by talking about Takeoff from Migos, who sadly passed away at the age of 28 this morning. There's no place for violence, honestly, and it really sucks that a young man so talented lost his life. I don't know if you guys listen to Migos, but I'll tell you right now, a lot of people in the in the world of hip hop have found them to be trailblazers. I mean, those guys did a song with Ric Flair called Ric Flair Drip that just literally like relaunched Ric Flair. You know, and I mean, if you're a wrestling fan, that's a really cool thing. Seeing Ric Flair back in prominence is really awesome, and knowing that Ric Flair now has a marijuana brand called Ric Flair Drip is pretty damn cool. But
Man smokes weed with Mike Tyson now.
Goat. Throw that Pokeball. Try it out loud. Get yourself some Ric Flair Drip. But my condolences to the friends and family of Takeoff from Migos. You will be sorely missed. And honestly, I think he was a great performer. But you recently, let's get into this. The McRib farewell tour also started in the last couple days now.
I feel like the McRib farewell tour is like the Ozzy Osbourne farewell tour.
Or the
It's
Ric Flair
gonna leave
farewell tour?
It's gonna leave like 30 times just so they sell 1 million of them, and I'm actually fine with that because it's still delicious.
Honestly, I had a McRib the other day for the first time in many years, and you know, not gonna lie. It was the greatest thing I've ever had.
People try to go, you can just get those riblets for like $2 at the store. And I'm like, it's not the same.
It's not the fucking same. Those disgusting pickles, the onions, the sauce, everything. My wife said to me the other day, because we were in the McDonald's drive-thru, she's like, are you really buying one of these? I'm like, yeah.
Christine's like, hey, you got the show tonight. When you run out to grab my stuff, can you also stop by McDonald's? And I was like, yeah, sure. I figured I was going to pick myself up nuggets because I completely forgot the McRib was there. And I walked in and saw the giant sign, and it was like the heavens opened up.
Well, that was a good hallelujah right there. Perfect timing. Well, guys, if you haven't had a chance to get the McRib yet, get yourself a McRib. It's fucking good. It's really fucking good. Okay. Well, today's a rough day for Hasbro because they didn't make any money. They conned collectors into believing that they were going to make who was it? It's the last Ghost Rider. That's all I remember.
Oh, Danny.
Yeah, Danny. Oh man,
we're very prepared.
No, we're prepared. We just added this last minute because I totally forgot that the HasLab did not fund. But Hasbro, for those of you who are watching, did a a crowdfund for Danny Rodriguez. There we go. Ghost Rider. Okay, with his super sweet car, muscle car, and they literally tried to pass off like a half done Ghost Rider figure as a pre-order bonus for this figure, an early bird special, if you will. So they basically just gave him another head with the same body scan and the same sculpt. They also added in Goblin Queen, a little too late if you ask me. Looks nothing like the comic book, and people were mad about that because she wasn't showing enough cleave, which, whatever. I mean, kind of a dumb idea to, really piss off your audience. And then they tried to add Mephisto like 3 days ago because apparently Mephisto was going to be enough to get 5,000 more backers. Literally, this crowdfunding project literally was at 7,000 backers at one point, and it lost 4,000 backers. 4,000 people backed out because they were like, man, this shit is bullshit. But on the other side, a more expensive crowdfunding project, and congratulations to my friends over at the Masters of the Universe brand. Eternia actually funded with Mattel Creations at $550. Now, I thought about doing it, but as you can see, there's not a lot of room down here because of the amount of shit I have. The Eternia playset is going to be revealed this week on a Masters of the Universe stream, and from what I understand from people who saw it early, it's literally the size of the table behind me. It's like 6 feet wide. What are your thoughts on this?
I want to point out that there was one other unlock that was so not noteworthy that you didn't even list it. And that was between
Oh,
sorry. Between the Goblin Queen and Mephisto at $11,000, they went, you know what the people really want? David Hellstrom.
Oh, shit. Here we go again.
I don't even know what that is, man.
You want to know why I know who Hellstrom is? Not from like comics, but because for a brief moment in time, there was like a paranormal detective Marvel show on Hulu called Hellstrom, which stars that Hellstrom. And I'm like, I only know this because of a short-lived Hulu show, not the comics, not anything that would make me throw money onto this. And also, if you're going to do a $400 Ghost Rider, you pick the wrong Ghost Rider. He's a cool character, but anybody that just has a basic knowledge of Ghost Rider is going to go for Johnny Blaze.
So, see, here's the thing, though. I think that they went off the figure community because figure photography, as we all know, is huge right now. They were going off betting that people wanted a 1/12 scale vehicle with all these crazy light-up effects and stuff. But our friends over at Jada Toys just put out a literal metallic Batmobile from the new Batman movie, and people are customizing it to look like Robbie Rodriguez's car. And I said Danny Rodriguez earlier, so I apologize.
Yeah, that's my fault. I said Danny.
That's okay. It's okay. You were thinking Danny Ketch. My apologies. There's 3 Ghost Riders for those of you who don't know. Danny Ketch, Nicolas Cage, whoever he played, Johnny Blaze, I think, and Robbie Rodriguez. I'm not really a Ghost Rider fan. He's kind of a niche character, if you ask me. But
I grew up on Johnny Blaze, so I'm a big fan of
this Hellstrom guy that you're talking about, though. He sounds like basically like a great value Constantine.
So he's not supposed to be. He's literally the son of Satan. That was his thing back in the 70s.
So that's why they put
he was marketed. Yeah. Back in the 70s, his comic was not called Hellstrom. It was called Son of Satan. Because he is literally the son of the devil.
I would have read that just to piss my mom off. I would have read that. I wasn't around in the 70s.
Like, this is what you get when your friend grew up on comics that he got from the 25-cent bin at the comic shop because they were poor. I know all the weird characters that nobody knows about.
But some of those characters are probably worth money right now. I guarantee you, the minute that Hellstrom was announced, literally eBay was like, first appearance of Hellstrom, $90, and it's like a 25-cent book, guaranteed.
You know what it felt like to be the kid that got laughed at for reading the comic book with the cartoon fucking raccoon and tree, and now everyone's like, I love Guardians of the Galaxy. Yeah. I'm like, I remember middle school. I remember middle school.
Groot had his own book, and he was like this evil tree, and he's awesome. Like Jack Kirby created him. Like, how bad can he really be? Anything
Guardians of the Galaxy was always great.
Anything Jack Kirby touched was gold. Now, let's get into a little bit of gaming news. I'll let you lead us off. We got about 7 more minutes, and we're going to be bringing in Esoteric. So hang tight with us, guys. Lead us off here, Jay.
I'm going to actually jump to the bottom because I promised my wife I would tell this story, and she's here. I actually wanted to kick off since I'm not small as I don't do vinyl. Tabletop Tales. So let me tell you a quick story, 2 seconds. one of the hardest things when you're a DM is just making stuff up that your players like when it doesn't already exist. So her very first like D&D game, she goes, "Can I have a dragon?" I'm like, "I don't know about no dragon," because this book that's on my shelf back there, Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, wasn't out yet. So as a she comes to me later and goes, "What if it's a fake dragon that my character thinks is real?" And I'm like, "Yeah, all right." So the entire campaign devolves into us her in combat, just randomly going, "Dragon, go!" and just whipping this dragon at the enemy and just staring at it, waiting for it to attack. While the rest of the party goes, is she okay? Is she good? He's not moving. He's not real. You know that, right? Shut up, he's real and you're hurting his feelings.
So basically what happened was you yeeted a dragon.
Yeah, she eats dragons. That's what she does because dragon isn't actually real, but her character thinks that this stuffed dragon is legit and is gonna fight people for her.
Man, I got to give the tabletop community credit. A lot of creativity goes into a lot of these games, just Dungeon Masters. I was watching the TikTok you did on Dungeon Masters the other day, and I got to tell you, I laughed because it's like, shit, I absolutely know nothing about tabletop. So I'm looking forward to Roll to really preventatively rolling out, if you will. So it's gonna be fun. I'm looking forward to learning more about this. It's cool to see this world now. If I'm not mistaken, PAX Unplug is coming up this week.
December. No, it's not this week. It's next month. It is the first weekend of December down in Philadelphia. Passes are still available. It is Friday the 2nd through Sunday the 4th, and I will be there all the entire time. I will probably do a few TikToks while I'm down there. We're gonna have a good time. We're gonna play games, and we're gonna play pretend for grown-ups.
Well, listen, playing pretend for grown-ups is what we do best here at the Brand Show. We know that. Now, speaking more about games, it's been a busy week in video games, too. This past Friday, we had Resident Evil 8, Shadow of Rose. We also, in the past couple of weeks, had Ghostbusters Spirits Unleashed. And last but not least, my favorite of the last 2 weeks, Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2. What are you playing?
Because apparently Billy is, stuck 10 years ago.
Well,
I've been playing Ghostbusters. I'm enjoying Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters, the best way to explain it is a lot of you play Steam games. You know the game Prop Hunt? Imagine Prop Hunt with Ghostbusters. Because the ghost, you got to hide from people, haunt stuff, possess stuff, and try and haunt up the building. While the 4 Ghostbusters, which are you, they're all custom created. Oh, and Ernie Hudson and Dan Aykroyd do voices in it. They got Ernie and for real.
Now, wait, let me ask you a serious question just in case Dan's listening. Does the birthday party where the kids demand He-Man show up?
No.
Damn it.
Well, it takes place after the newest movie, after Afterlife. Like it actually slots into the timeline. This is Ernie and Dan have gone back to New York, and so Winston and Ray have gone back to New York. Winston's running the new firehouse. They're running a cult shop, and that's where it slots in. Is you're one of the new Ghostbusters, and you can go through the book and become a ghost too if you want to play as a ghost, and it's really fun. It had a funky first week, but name one asymmetrical game that doesn't.
I mean, anything and everything that Gun Media touches goes that way. It's a normal process. I really liked Friday the 13th. I was one of the first backers on that game. I'm really excited. As much as I don't like Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I'm really excited to see their Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
I'm interested in that and Killer Clowns because they take the asymmetrical genre and they turn it on its ear by having multiple killers.
Yeah,
that's not something anybody's done before.
Killer Clowns from Outer Space is something else. It's probably one of the most prop-tastic, wacky movies of all time. Great practical effects. By the way, I loved Halloween Ends, and you can fight me in the comments about it. Always a fun movie. Anytime you put it on, I loved it. Now, I'm going to just get through this really quick. Shadow of Rose from the Resident Evil DLC dropped this week. I've played a little bit of it. Rose has to go into the Mega Mycete that Ethan destroys at the end of Resident Evil 8. Takes place 26 years 26 years apparently it was in the future or something like that. But then you get into the game and it's 18 or 19 and Rose is in college, and I'm not going to get too deep into it, but the story is really fucking wild and all over the place. And it's one of those things where I really enjoyed sitting down and playing what I played of it. So I'm happy about it. I'm also really happy about Modern Warfare 2. I know you're saying, oh, I'm living 10 years in the past. Whatever, I don't care. Call of Duty, in a world where there's not a good fucking shooter, in a world where we don't have a shooter that is going to make sense, like Halo Infinite, which is literally utter garbage. I'm sorry.
Overwatch 2 is very disappointing. Like, the gameplay is
Overwatch.
good. No, let me make that very short. The gameplay is as good as it always was. The monetization around it is what's terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's become Blizzard's MO is to do something like that, and
They had a Halloween event where you couldn't get skins. Like, that's always been like the big like highlight of all their events is, oh, you play, you can get, we have these skins in the store you can buy, but we also have these you can just get.
Oh man. Well, that's just terrible. Now, guys, it's 8:30. We're going to go get ready to pick up our guest. I don't know if he's running late. I'm waiting on him right now. But hang tight. We're going to go to our first break of the night, and we're going to be back with Esoteric. So hang tight. It's the Brand Show. It's Zero and the Brand. We'll be right back with you. right, guys, I'm sad to say, but unfortunately, we couldn't find Czarface, but we did find Esoteric. So at least part of Czarface is here. We got literally 1/3 of the Megazord. We're good. But guys, I just want to introduce someone very special to us here in Boston, considered to be probably the greatest MC to ever come out of this beautiful city of ours. One of the greatest MCs of the last 30 years. Ladies and gentlemen, founding member of Czarface, Esoteric.
Hey, how's it going? You don't have like an applause button to hit or something? I was waiting for like people.
I can
like
hit an applause button if you'd like.
You know, one of those. I know we're live, but I mean, I have a bunch of samples I could play over here to introduce me. But I couldn't have said any better myself.
Hey,
so
man.
thank you for that.
Thanks for being here. It's great to have you, man. Listen, it's been a very monumental 4 weeks for you. New shoes, ton of things going on. Seems like you've been everywhere. Give us the update. Tell the fans where you've been, what's going on. Shoe release with Saucony. Man, you are just all over the place.
Yeah, thanks. I'm here on the brand show now, which is where everyone should be. And I'm just recovering from Halloween last night. That's kind of where I'm at. The past few weeks have been a blur. So, I mean, I know we had the Saucony drop, the Zarkany with Saucony Originals, which was very exciting and a real milestone for us to have our own sneaker, affiliated with, a very, successful, tried and true, time-tested company such as Saucony. And it came with an action figure, which was a lot of fun. Super 7 helped create that. He's right here. And he's actually wearing the Saucony sneakers too. So that was a really fun element of the sneaker, and really kind of put it over the top for us. Oh, look at that! Yeah, yeah. Super 7 comes correct, and you have that in a nice case. And every once in a while, I ask someone where they get their cases, and then it fades. So like all my guys, they're just loose.
I got links for you, man. Don't worry, I got links. Oh, there we go. There's
Yeah.
Cosmic Czarface, most recent release.
Yeah.
I have that too.
How about I just raise up figures and you tell me who they are? Here we
Be
go.
my guess. All right, that's an original 82 Deathstroke.
Pretty good.
Look,
good.
the man has an obsession.
All right, that's Toy Biz 93 Wolverine.
Okay.
My man. This is what we're doing today. That's a 78 Jabba the Hutt.
No, it's Power of the Force.
Is
Jabba
that
the
Power
Hutt.
of the Force? It looks like oh wait, no, 78. 78 he was tan. And he came with what's his name? I had him. I sold out of Star Wars because of repro. It's a bad thing happening in that community. But you grew up with it, so I'm sure you have a lot of your old stuff.
Salacious B. Crumb is the name
you
you were looking for.
That's a Super 7 Godzilla if I've ever seen it.
Yes.
Man,
yes.
Brian has such an obsession with Godzilla, and I love his enthusiasm for it. Hey, I got a toy for you that you've probably never seen.
Okay. Oh yeah, that looks like what does it say? Super hand cast resin Crusaders. Don Doom. Then you got the Doom mask, and wow, that is that's.
This is wild, man. This happened by accident. So a friend of mine is a huge MF Doom fan. Now I'm saying this in all caps for those of you watching the show, because you can't say the man's name if it's not all caps. But this happened because of a raffle, and he was actually doing a Czarface turtle, and he broke it.
Oh wow!
So
okay.
I ended up with an MF Doom turtle because of it. So
that is consider that a victory for you.
Man, it's cool.
I actually have this. This was a gift to me here. This is
that's beautiful.
It lights up too, but I don't have it lit up. But yeah, rest in peace, MF Doom.
Hey, 2 years ago yesterday, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Still with us all the way. His music will live on forever, and it's something that brought all of us together. Seeing these collaborations over the last few years, and we're going to talk a lot about Czarface, but we got to talk about you too. Your story is absolutely wild. How you met 7L. Let's start there, because we're coming up on 30 years of Esoteric. Now, mind you, you've been all over the globe. You've worked with a lot of famous people. We talked about how John Cena's "The Time Is Now" was recorded across the room from where you recorded Bars of Death. So let's start right at the beginning. Let's talk about you and 7L. Let's go all the way back to WMWM 97.1 North, 1993, and MC Esoteric.
Okay.
Let's talk about college radio. Let's start there.
Wow. This is like the Nardwar show. You're just going to bust out these random parts of my life, and
You know
I
it,
got to
man.
react. Yeah, that's great. Yeah. Well, yeah, I had a college radio show, man, at Salem State, and I was playing all types of hip hop that we grew up with and liked. But I couldn't believe that I had a license to play this stuff on the radio. So it was very exciting. It's from Ultramagnetic MCs to Main Source to JVC Force, whoever it was. But there were two people that understood what I was playing, and 7L happened to be one of them. And he would call in to make requests, and he was just a guy, a kid I didn't know, but he knew his hip hop, and every once in a while I'd freestyle on the radio, and then he'd call in and say, by the way, I make beats. So you don't really have to rap over everyone else's instrumentals because I have an SP 1200 and I can tap on the drums and make beats for you. And I was like, oh, like real rappers, you know what I mean? And this was science fiction to me then when I was able to rap on original beats and everything. I just couldn't believe it was happening because it just seemed so far fetched. And we wound up having a good partnership over the past several decades, and I feel like we keep work. We work well together, man, and it's been paying off lately.
And it's been a thing. Literally 93 to 96, you guys started performing. God Complex with MC Karma. There was a lot of stuff that was done, and I mean, it was a meteoric rise. I remember the first time I heard you was Warning, Knife to the Face, and I was just like, my God. What is this and where did it come from? Why does this speak to my inner monologue about how angry I get? It was so big. But before that, it was you and 7L, 97, it was Rebel Alliance, and then the Army of Pharaohs.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that was definitely a lot of our first steps in terms of making actual recordings that we could sell. And we felt like we were in the business, like a indie hip hop business. And this was probably 96 was the first time we put out a record, and that was thanks to my man Truth, who founded Brick Records, and he first got to put us on wax on vinyl, and that was 1996. And I couldn't believe it. I thought we had made it then. You know what I mean? Just to have your own record. First thing we did, we got the records. We drove them down to Rocksteady Anniversary in New York. Gave it to Prince Paul, gave it to Bobito, Rhythmatic, anyone that we could find out there. And Prince Paul had called me back. Called the 800 number that was on the actual vinyl and said he loved the record, the God Complex record. And I couldn't believe it. I listened back and I said, hey, I talked to 7L. I was like, listen, Prince Paul just called back and said he liked the record. Not that he got the record, but that he liked the record too. And it blew my mind. And I just, it opened like a portal for us, and I was like, "Wow, we're actually." It was inspiring to get that phone call.
That's one of the things I always look for with hip hop artists, like especially ones that are coming up, is do you have an actual vinyl for me to buy? Because that's like I don't have the best record player, but I got hundreds of vinyls around this house, and it always makes me sad when I see a good somebody I know is a good hip hop artist, and I look at them, I go, "When are you gonna have something on vinyl for me?"
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's a big investment though. You know what I mean? For a lot of people, it's obviously had a resurgence lately where, people can press, depending on which plant you use, you can press a really limited run of, 500 records or 100 records and different colorways and so forth. And so I think the access to put vinyl out for even, somebody that's just starting, it's there, but sometimes if you want to fund it yourself, it's a gamble. There's lead times to get them pressed, and I don't know. It's a way of life.
So let's keep on this track for a second here, because vinyl is something that's very new to me. But Chris and Zero both are huge vinyl guys.
That's why he brought me on. He's like, "Well, Chris isn't here. You vinyl like Chris does."
So
nice.
In 93, like I know how it is to create a toy. I know the tooling times. I know all about how to projection molds, everything like that. Like literally sitting on my desk, I have a prototype from Jax of Xbox. But
dope.
With records, what was it like at that time to actually produce a record and press a record? I know it had to be a lot, and that you're talking about lead times and so forth like that. Just imagine the 30 years ago, we didn't think technology was going to be the way it was. What was it like as an independent hip hop artist in 1996, 97, pressing a record and saying, hey, I'm going to put this out to the public. I'm going to do this all myself. F this, F that. It's me.
Yeah, that definitely came as a result of recording demos from about 93 to 95 and hearing all these like stories about, yo, my man works at Loud, or my man works at Def Jam, or, you know, you can take a meeting in New York if you can get there in a half an hour, things like that. And we were recording to cassette, you know, just these demos to cassette, and hoping somebody would listen. And I mean, truth be told, I don't think we were good enough then to get a deal, but we were still trying to. And eventually, you know, my man Truth had said, you know, we're going to press up the records and we're going to, you know, try to sell them. Bud's Distribution. We have a couple distributors, Big Daddy, that will distribute the records. And my man works at Fat Beats, and we can get the record in Fat Beats, right, in NYC. And I was like, wow, if we can do that, that would be, you know, a great way in the door. And I think with that first record, the God Complex record, and then the 7L and Esoteric record, which was in 97, called Protocol, and Be Alert. The B-side was Be Alert. That's when we got into Fat Beats, and that's when I felt like the indie scene was really starting to flourish. A new crop of MCs that were willing to do it on their own, or willing to work with indie labels that would, you know, take a chance on artists. And that was when, you know, I think we first started making a mark, you know, and once we had our own vinyl, you couldn't tell us anything. It's like, yo, we're in the mix. We're
right, like I'm
now.
saying, it's a symbol. Like, you once you're on vinyl, you're legit.
Yeah. It's insane to just look at this too. There's also another B-side to that. There was a B-side to God Complex, if I'm not mistaken. It's Secret Wars, right?
Yeah, Secret Wars is Secret Wars was a record we probably did in 94, 95, which was a whole bunch of punchlines and similes and metaphors that were involving all types of superheroes and supervillains. So, you know, I found it funny that, you know, I referenced on that record, that was our first record that we ever put out, and I had said something about maximum carnage from my venom is illa. My maximum carnage from my venom is killer. I illustrate my point like Frank Miller, something like that. But it was just when we just got on the Venom 2 soundtrack last year, when Venom 2 came out, it was kind of this real milestone, because the first record we put out, I had referenced Carnage and Venom in 95 or something. And then we are in the movie, the Venom movie, with our music in the movie. It was just such a cool thing personally for me as a lifelong fan of all things Marvel and Venom. It's the whole Spider-Man universe. It was just a really cool thing to, you know, arrive at.
It's really funny you mentioned that too, because we were just talking about this earlier, and I know I tagged you in this because when we got the King in Black 2-pack that just came out, Null and Venom, one of my favorite storylines of all time. Now, mind you, probably the greatest crossover storyline in history, Secret Wars. Zek and Betty creating the black suit. We could sit here and talk comics all day. I collected for a long, long time before Rebecca decided she needed a Peloton.
Wait a second. You sold it? I was gonna go get my my couple Secret Wars 8s over there. I don't know. I don't know what's behind me. What's behind? Like, I'm blocking probably a whole bunch of like clutter, and I don't want to get up and reveal the clutter. I'm not gonna go over to my rack.
That's me. I'm like, the minute that I know there's clutter behind me on camera, I'm like, this is exactly where I
mean, this is clutter as it is, but it's anyway. So you sold your? Did you sell your? Yeah,
my comic collection got sold to fund all of this, but also to buy my wife to buy her a Peloton. I grew up on Ninja Turtles. There's a couple things I kept, like on the other side of this room, I have art that was done by Kevin Eastman, Peter Laird, Jim Lawson, Steve Levine, stuff like that. Like, I kept art that Alan Bellman did for me, stuff like that. But I had so many single issues. Like, I had an almost complete run of Daredevil, and I wanted to go down to graphic novels and stuff like that. Like, you can see my wall. I have like original Venom art here. But speaking of Secret Wars 8, I'm gonna zap ahead here for a second. Did you ever think you were gonna be able to do something like this and actually homage John Betty and Mike Zack with Lamar Supreme, if I'm not mistaken?
That's the timing was right at that point where I wanted to write a comic called Czar Noir, and I wanted to pay homage to that particular cover. And, you know, we put out a soundtrack to go with that on vinyl and a story and a comic. And we timed it so we could drop that record with the action figure at the same time. So the action figure came out with Super 7, but the record itself came out through us on Record Store Day. And it was a real touchy situation because the original version we had, I was like, put some hint of the web, like the spider on his chest originally. And as everything was in production, we had a Super 7 figure with the spider on its chest too. And then I had spoken to Tom Hardy, reached out about the Venom thing, and I said, hold up, we can't put this figure out with the spider on it because we are flying really close to the sun if we're going to be involved with the Venom soundtrack. So I called Brian from Super 7. I said, listen, whatever's going on over there, you have to shut it down because we cannot put this figure out with the spider on it. I don't want to roll the dice. I don't want to screw any of the relationships up with Marvel or Sony. And the figures, they had got a few samples, and I actually have a few samples of the Czar Noir figure with the spider on there, the white, spider, and they're upstairs. But I just couldn't. Where was I going? It was one of those things where we could put the actual figure out and the record and have it all it was timed perfectly. We were very lucky to do that.
Man, I gotta see this figure now because I'm gonna tell you.
Let me see.
So I'm gonna
pardon the mess.
The mess is good. They've seen my mess a million times, but while Esso's grabbing that, I'm just gonna tell you guys. I've been searching the internet everywhere. Literally, I have friends who work in the factories in China, and I've never even seen this. Like, I've seen prototypes that Super 7 did for these figures, like in other colors. And I have the Impostar, I have Czar Noir, I have Cosmic Czar. But that's all I have of them.
There's a Masters of the Universe Czarface bootleg.
That's amazing.
Somebody had sent me. That's the actual Czar Noir.
San Diego, 2020. I know my shit, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, apparently you do.
Bro, I got deep into toys when I left. This is why I left comics, was because I was so deep into toys. We could sit here and you have an open invite. I'm sure Rebecca's already given it to you. Come see my husband's toy collection. it's pretty wild. I mean, it's madness down there.
Venom.
That is that's Toy Biz.
Yeah,
we got Secret Wars 8, first Black Suit Spider-Man, Mike Zeck and John Betty, two of my favorites.
Yeah. Okay.
Wow,
there's another one in case you need two.
Who doesn't have two? Come on now, man.
You know what you're talking about.
Bro, I'm telling you. Take me to a show with you. I'll get you deals and I'll show you everything you need to find.
Okay. Apparently so. Yeah, you were supposed to show up at Boston Comic Con. You were threatening me for a long time, and then you just didn't show up. So I don't know.
I was needed at home. I had a sick wife.
Okay, she got the Peloton. I think she could stay home and be sick for a little while if she got the Peloton. I mean,
for the record, she just texted me and told me I'm throwing her under the bus because she's upstairs watching. So
he started out tonight talking about, thank you for Rebecca. It's our anniversary. You're a wonderful lady. Now it's Rebecca. Is that your bus?
Well, we told the
that's your bus.
We told the story. We didn't for the reasons of privacy. We didn't tell full details, but we told the story about how you and I met through Rebecca, and it's just a wild story because when you show up in a Super 7 hoodie, my wife has to talk to you because I'm obsessed with Super 7. It's insane. We were talking about him earlier. Speaking of toys, you want to talk about crazy from our childhood? Look at this Slash figure.
Oh yeah, that's great.
It perfect likeness of the originals, and
they don't fool around with the Ultimates, man.
No, and you have, before we move on to Rebel Alliance and Army of Pharaohs, you have an Ultimate coming out, and we've talked in depth with this. He's grabbing the prototype, folks.
No. You sound like you're at the announce table. He's grabbing the prototype, the foreign object.
My
I'm
God!
trying to look for that.
Get this man as a family.
Chat's asking me if I got the shoes. I'm like, nah, the big man size is sold out too fast.
Okay, that I know exactly who that came from too. Is that Czar Fonzarelli? Did that come from Mexico?
Yeah. No, this came from Peter from Killer Bootlegs. He made that.
I know
But
Peter. I was gonna say it was either Peter, Death by Toys, or it was Karma de Perro down in Mexico City.
okay, yeah, this was Peter. I feel like, man, this one is the first. That's the first Czarface that was made by
Wow.
Sucklord.
Oh, I love him. I love him so much.
Yeah,
His
pioneer,
work is the
man.
best. He is the OG godfather of the toy game. Guys, this is what happens on the brand show. We go real gunslinger. We have a script and we never go by it. This is what you're seeing.
Yeah,
Scripts are for
loose
stuckers.
one.
Yeah.
There's, you know what? I feel like I can't. I want to find that Tsar Noir with the spider on it, because there's only 6 in the world,
Damn,
and
how do
Ryan
bribe
kept
you
3
to
and
get
I have
one?
3, and you know, I'm gonna do a giveaway on Instagram eventually. I don't know. We can figure something out.
All right.
I mean, I'm not committing to anything.
It needs to be
I
next
mean,
to Zodak.
that's you've got an impressive wall there, man. I'm not gonna lie.
There is a lot more on this side too. Like there's a whole hallway with all wrestling figures and my WWF Hasbro figures, my Toxic Crusaders figures. This is I'll have to send you a video after the show and show you this. It's nuts. There's an NBA Jam machine here. There's a Simpsons machine. It's a good time down here. Plain and simple.
Oh, I have a Galaga there.
Arcade one up. There you go.
Yeah, okay.
Y'all are fancy. I got
What do
I got $100 record player and a bunch of vinyl. I'm satisfied.
Oh man! So,
and a small collection of superhero masks upstairs.
It's a
bring
good
you over
time.
to my turntable. I'm afraid Billy's gonna just name everything that I have before I show it. So he's very
That's what he's gonna do. He's very
I'm telling
chatty,
you.
and he doesn't
looking.
let you do surprises.
All right, fine. I'm not looking. Are you guys good? Go ahead, Esso. Whatever you want to
No,
show.
I'm just thinking. You know, you said your wife is upstairs watching this broadcast. My wife is upstairs too. She's watching. She's watching a DVR'd episode of All Elite Wrestling, and no, I'm only kidding. She's watching probably a Hallmark movie.
I think at this point, my wife is upstairs watching Wife Swap.
We got that here too, man. Chases and everything. I'm telling you, we ain't messing around over here.
What's that? Is that a Cody Rhodes?
That's the new Cody. We just got
one of 1,000.
One of 3,000. We just got picked up by Ringside Collectibles, and I sent a message to Tom over at Ringside. I was like, hey, I'm ordering this. Can you give me a chase with Cody? And he's like, sure, no problem. So I get it. I'm like, yeah, he's just ribbing me, screwing me. Open it up, right there. So I have a whole wall of them. I have, I think, 15 of them at this point, or more.
So the chase. You're the dog that. You got it already.
Psycho. I'm just a psycho about this stuff, man.
So what does it mean when you say you've been picked up by Ringside Collectibles?
So we now have a code with them. So let's say you go over to Ringside Collectibles, and guys, you hear me shilling this all over social media. So if you go to Ringside Collectibles and you put in a promo code, you put in the brand, you save 10%.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So something new for us. We've been grinding hard, man. Working towards making this something just fun for us and a way to talk about toys and records. And Zero, what did you make? Mocha bread pudding?
Yes, I made
bread pudding.
That's my big hobby is baking.
So.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. I've noticed that. You know, I'm not that savvy with TikTok, but I notice anytime that I log on, the first thing I see is your fucking face, and you are.
You're gonna see me more too, because like I'm trying to make it so that people don't have to see his face all the time.
Well, you were the one who followed us, not the other way around.
No, I did. Well, the name was a bunch of nerds, so I said, okay, those are my people. And then now every time I go on, usually I think I would go on and I would see like some type of girl that looks like well, how do I phrase this? I don't know, mimicking or lip syncing some meme
I
or
feel
whatever.
like all of y'all have a much different algorithm than I have, because I get hip hop, D&D TikTok, and like woodworking TikTok, which I'm very happy with.
I've been getting nonstop hip hop stuff lately because of him, and I've been getting toy TikTok and like a friend of mine, Ass Crasher, who does a comic book show. I've been getting all his stuff, and him talking about the gay side of comic books, and it's amazing. But
Ass Crasher?
yeah, I'll send you his TikTok after the show. But with that being said, just be thankful you don't follow me on Instagram. It's all action figures. You'd be so.
I thought I followed you. I feel
You
like I
don't.
follow you. I talk. Oh, okay. I talk to you on there enough.
Yeah,
I feel like I follow you.
Yeah, well,
I mean,
it's.
I'll follow you.
As you should. It's all toys.
That is great. That is great, and I will. And I thought, we chat enough where I feel like we're pretty close. But I'll do that.
Absolutely. Hey,
I'll do that.
Before we get on to Rebel Alliance and the Army of Pharaohs, like I told you, this show just goes off
No
the rails
rush.
really fast. We got all the time in the world for you, my friend.
I don't. Well, yeah.
Your boy Fat Nuts is in the chat, and he said, "Eso, you never told me if you like pulled pork sandwiches or not."
No, if you liked his pulled pork sandwiches.
His pulled pork sandwiches, excuse me. Fat Nuts, if you make pulled pork sandwiches, slide in my DMs, man. I want to try it.
Yeah, no. If you come down my way towards Philly, I will always appreciate a pulled pork sandwich.
All right. So what he's referring to is.
Oh man. Here we go.
Well, no. He was at Wu-Tang and Nas played at Great Woods or the Xfinity Center, and he was outside in the parking lot tailgating with, and he had a bunch of, great guy, but he had a bunch of pulled pork sandwiches, or he was, in the midst of making them. And we stopped by, we had them, and they were great. They were great pulled pork sandwiches. Pork is something I'm trying to get out of my life. I'm not trying that hard, but when is the McRib coming back? Is it coming back soon?
It's out. I had one tonight. I had one tonight.
We just talked about it 5 minutes before you came on.
That's because the McRib is a cultural phenomenon.
I sent you the script. We were literally. I saw you show up in the script.
Listen,
and I was
reading
McRib.
I didn't see your script. I asked to see the script, but I didn't get a chance to look at it. I was reading Judy Moody. To my daughter, I put her to bed, and it was one of those things where I was like, I had to finish this story about the Tooth Fairy, and get that wrapped up, so I could make it down here for this moment. We're just freewheeling here. I don't know what's gonna happen next, but you've been threatening to talk about Army of the Pharaohs and the Rebel Alliance for quite a bit now, which is
Let's get into it, because this was your first 12-inch with remastered versions of Protocol, Be Alert, and there was a B-side. I couldn't find what the B-side was, but one of the big things about this record these two records was it was the first time, and this was acclaimed by a lot of people. A huge unique piece to this was Transformers G1 sound clips.
Oh yeah,
yeah, and this has become literally like a cornerstone of your brand is old Marvel shows, Transformers, 80s culture, comic books, video games, all that stuff. Like, just every time I listen to something Czarface or something you've done, there's a reference that just comes up, and I'm like, my God, this is my people. Like you said about us, I'm like, he understands where my brain goes when I talk in references. Like, we were making fun of Donald Pleasance 5 minutes before you came on too, talking about Halloween too. Sam Hain.
Well, yeah, I feel like, with a lot of the stuff that we've done over the years, it's kind of a reflection of things that we grew up with, things that are near and dear to us, things that are, might have faded from the past, but something we hold tight and have great memories with. And, when I'm recording with Inspect the Deck, I feel like this is the common ground for us, you know what I mean? Because we didn't grow up together as kids, but we liked a lot of the same things, you know what I mean? And so if he wants to talk about Wolverine, or I want to talk about Ghost Rider, or however it is, we can find a way to work that into a song, you know what I mean? And I think it's a sweet spot for us lyrically, you know what I mean? And a lot of the fun is putting that stuff to music, to the beats and everything, and just seeing what we come up with. It's just kind of having fun. A lot of stuff, we don't take ourselves too seriously. There's a lot of, artists out now that are just taking themselves maybe more seriously than they have to. And a lot of the tough guy stuff is just, I don't know, as you get older and you just get into a different lane, and you start to appreciate a brighter side of things. You know what I mean? You start smiling more in photos and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, there's a there's a lot of like there's a this place in Beverly called Super Sub. It's a famous.
Oh,
Well,
I know Super
it's
Sub very well.
oh, you know, okay, there it is. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. So
We're both from Massachusetts, so
yeah. Every time I'm in there, they're like, hey, bring a picture in so we can put it on the wall. And I said, oh yeah, I will. And because I've been going there forever, and it's an honor to even be asked. So I was like, yeah, I'll bring one in. And but I don't bring it in myself would be awkward. I'm not gonna, you know what I mean? It's like if you want my picture on the wall there framed, I feel like there should be like a go between that brings it in. I can't walk it in myself. That'd be very strange, don't you think?
yeah.
Like, hey,
Feels
here's
like
a picture.
But
a little egotistical sounding if you when you put it that way.
Yeah,
Like,
completely.
hey, you
So it's like,
want this
so-
picture of me?
well, no, but they've been asking. So, but I'm not going to go in and then explain to the first guy that's going to take my order. Like, by the way, Paul was asking about me putting my face on the wall of your building. The kid won't know what I'm talking about. It's just a strange dynamic. But I guess what I'm getting at is that I tell them like I'm going to do that, but then I look at all of my like promo photos and the professional photos taken, and a lot of them I'm like, you know, I'm trying to look serious and tough.
Or there's that wonderful
that's
photo taken out front of a specific Nichols family establishment where you're just like,
and that's another thing. So that photo I'm happy with, and I actually have one ready to. But it's in front of the Rosebud. Is that right? Is that what we're talking about?
My family owned that until 2014.
Right. Yeah, I remember talking about that. So I don't think Super Sub wants to have the Rosebud on their wall in there.
That's a new
so I can't just give.
Man.
Well, no offense, but it's like two different businesses. So it's like
different worlds. Yeah.
It's two different worlds, but still, it's like I'm just looking for I don't know. If I'm going to bring a photo in there, I just don't want to look like I'm trying to scare everybody with my, you know, at this point in the game. I don't know. It's one of those things where I guess I'm overthinking it, but it's just.
No, I got you.
It's how I am.
You
know what I mean?
Have a picture going and just be like, just one of those really random one-off photos.
That's the thing, because I was in there a week ago. No, we're still talking about my photo going to Super Sub. We're not talking about the rap shit. All right, I'm not talking about Army of the Pharaohs, Double Alliance, Czarface.
We're everywhere.
We're talking about this.
It's the ADHD show, man.
We're talking about this conundrum. I almost want to do a photo shoot in front of Super Sub. So if you know like a photographer with nothing to do. Oh, that's right. You photograph toys.
I've also shot for Matt Cardona, Alexa Bliss, Kyrie Sane.
So I'm gonna let you in on a secret. Half this staff is some version of a photographer.
Myself, Stives, and Chris are all photographers. So if
I also do it locally and stuff like that down here in Philly.
If you guys are performing, and you need a photographer, Smalls can take care of it. If you need promo shots, I can take care of it. If you need a videographer, Stives can take care of it.
My stuff is more event photography, like ponds and stuff.
Yeah,
like
trust
what?
me. Scroll my Instagram.
Well, I have to follow you first, which you pointed out and embarrassed me saying that I don't follow you.
Just live.
So now it's like
called you out live, and you're supposed to be the guest. This is how he treats guests.
No,
I work with him. How do you think he treats me?
I beat him up on occasion, but like I told you both off air, you guys can beat me up all you need to. We'll go as long as we want. But listen, Super Subs, great side story. I always love those side stories, especially when it's got New England lore beat into it. Like, and this goes for just about everything you've done. Like, just going back and listening to everything you've done, I think one of my favorite lines is oh, I shop at Newberry. No, you want Newberry. One of my favorite lines from Morning Dive of the Face, and I'm just like, oh, Newberry Street.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
It's so Boston. It's so Boston riddled. Like everything was Czarface. I remember the first time I heard and this is funny. I'm gonna give you a laugh because I put money in your pocket on this one. Ready? I recently changed my ringer on my phone, and I keep getting a lot of shit from Smalls, my regular co-host on this one. Ready? Bomb Throne is my ringer on my phone.
Oh, we're gonna do that thing again when you play audio that nobody can hear but you.
No, I put my phone up to the microphone. I thought it would work, but
no, it did not.
All right, hold on. Let me play the Curb Your Enthusiasm out. Hold on. Yeah, that works.
Maybe does that go out to the listeners? Because I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, that goes on. Unfortunately, Zoom for some reason, unless I'm sharing my screen. You can't hear sound, but anyway, here just for
Okay.
discussion point.
Oh,
Bomb thrown.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
There we go.
It's a very loud sound, and it wakes me up. Like if I fall asleep and my phone rings. And it's also one of my favorite
nice.
It's one of my favorite collaborations with Doom. And we're going to talk a lot about him tonight. I mean, tonight, celebration of Doom as well as this conversation. You know, we lost Doom 2 years ago, for those of you who don't remember. And if you don't remember, you're fired. But, you know, Rebel Alliance and Army of the Pharaohs, to get back to it for a second here, not that I couldn't talk about super subs for another hour. Best meatball subs in the universe, may I add.
My son agrees. My son loves the meatball sub there. Yeah.
Okay.
Continue.
So, with that being said, these two records brought you to Stretch and Bobbito on WKCR in New York City. Also got you in touch with Sway, and that's big. That's real big in the 90s right there. So how did that all come together? And then from there, also, URB Magazine put you on their top 100 in 97.
Yeah. That was all, you know, very it's inspiring and probably, you know, kept us pushing to keep going. You know what I mean? That was all. When Herb put us in the top 100 and, you know, Stretch and Bobbito were playing our record and Sway was playing our stuff with Revolution, all that stuff was dreams realized, things that were never promised and that we were actually be able to, you know, be a part of and put records out that they would play. It was just something that we couldn't imagine happening, and it was happening. And although we weren't getting rich off of it, it was still super fulfilling, and we were, you know, doing what we love. And I think in doing that and continuing to chase that dream, you know, we're here now, which is, you know, I couldn't have done it any other way. I feel, you know, pretty happy with what we're doing now, and with the whole advent of Czarface and stuff. I just feel like, you know, when we were making those records, Czarface, we didn't even think about doing Czarface at that point.
Well,
and now we're here.
Well, back then, too, there was let's just call it what it really is. It's the first cameo of Czarface, because 99 was one of the first times you worked with Inspector Deck.
Yeah, yes, sir. So, yeah, that was the first appearance, yeah. It was like the...
speaking real words, issue right?
Speaking real words, yeah. It was, that was like the first appearance of Wolverine and Hulk, but not Hulk 181. It was the Hulk 181. It was the,
Wendigo and Wolverine, man.
Exactly.
I mean, if you want to get really deep, look at my arm for a second.
Okay.
I'm an obsessive Daredevil guy, so Frank
so,
was my childhood.
Well, yeah. I mean, he clearly turned Daredevil around and made, you know, Daredevil what he is today in terms of, you know, the direction of. But I feel like being able to marry the hip hop that we love doing, the toys we grew up with, the comic books, and have it all under the umbrella of Czarface, and have a sneaker and everything. It's really, you know, we're very, very lucky to be able to kind of put it all together and in the way that we have.
And it's crazy, man, just to look at it and see where it's gone. I mean, you worked with Jedi Mind Tricks frontman Vinny Paz. 2000 was crazy because you were all over Violent by Design. Just a lot of that. And then we move on into the 2000s. Sole Purpose and DC2, Bars of Death.
Oh, yeah. Sole Purpose was our first full-length record. And speaking of Vinny, you know, we were hanging out a lot back then. I still talk to him every day. And I'm going on the road with him in February and March, which I guess is breaking news because they haven't announced it yet. But whoops. But we
hear that.
Yeah.
I like how the brand show head says, "You didn't hear that." The brand show social media guy goes, "Brand show exclusive."
Now, with that being said, is there a Boston show coming? Cough.
There's a show in Boston. Yep, we'll be playing the Paradise. Me and 7L are actually playing the Paradise this November 11th with Still Gold. STL GLD is how it's stylized, but they have a big show dropping a new album, and we're going to be rocking with them at the Paradise on Thursday, November 11th, which we're looking forward to doing.
Wait,
but I think
Thursday? No, that's a Friday.
It's a Thursday night. Oh, it is? No, it's a Thursday.
Look, time's hard for Billy.
No, I'm
Yeah.
looking at my calendar. It's a Friday.
No way.
The 11th?
You must be in 2020.
No way.
Really? Oh, maybe it's the 10th.
Maybe
Maybe it's Thursday the 10th.
Either way, I'll be there.
I don't know. I just don't lie, because you said you were going to be at Boston Comic Con too, and you weren't there.
I'm going to tell you one thing. If you make it down to Philly, I'll actually show up.
Oh, fuck you.
Okay. Well, we will be rocking in Philly too. Now I'm curious. I guess it might be the 10th. It's that Thursday night of that week. That's what. Yeah, you know what? I guess you're right. And then back to the Sole Purpose, which is our first album, is 7 on Esoteric. And to connect that to Vinny Paz, that was around, we were both working on our albums. Our really, Jedi Mind Tricks had an album before that. But Violent by Design was the album that really, really blew the doors open for them. And it came out around the same time as the Sole Purpose. And it did so much better than our record. It was so, I was on their record too, so that was fun, but it was just really, really shifted the playing field. Like there was Violent by Design, and then there was the Sole Purpose, and we just kind of had to play along like, hey, we're all in the same gang. But Violent by Design just kept getting all these props. The Sole Purpose just kept going like this, and it was a tough pill to swallow, and just keep smiling. But I was happy to be involved with both records. But we don't look back on Sole Purpose fondly. It was more like, I don't think I was taking recording as seriously as I should have at that point. I think I had a kind of a confidence that was inappropriate at that point, as far as how I was as, developed as an artist. I felt like, here I am rapping and that's good enough, because here I am. And just, I don't know. We like the record, but kind of like what we're doing now. We're more proud of what we're doing now, I think.
Of course, but at the same time, a debut album with a single debuting on the Billboard 100, man. Come on. Call Me Es was.
Oh yeah, Call Me ES. Yeah. That was cool. That was cool to show my folks and everything. So I mean, we did have a good, a lot of bright spots throughout this peaks and valley type of career, and that was cool for sure.
And it goes on from there, man. Like Boston Music Awards are huge to us who live here in New England. Best hip hop album. And then from there, a headlining tour all over the States, all over Europe. That had to be fun.
Oh, that was one of those cool things, man. Because, we did win Best Album for that, for Sole Purpose. But we were in Europe, or I think, when the award show was. So it was one of those things where we couldn't be there because we were out in Europe doing our thing. So it was like even cooler. We couldn't accept it because we were, out in London or something, and I felt like we got the news that we won. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. But it's even cooler that we can't be there because we're doing bigger things,
Absolutely. And Jay, could you imagine winning an award for anything and not being there to, like even if it was Employee of the Month? Like imagine that. Like, hey, you want Employee of the Month? Sorry, I took a sick day.
I was not there that day. So good. Like I'm busy. I'm busy.
No, it was. But in all seriousness, it was really an honor to win that. But me and 7L, we wanted to win a Source Award, or we wanted to be, more globally recognized. It was one of those things where I was like, oh, that's cool, but we want to get out of Boston. We want to break out of Boston. And that was kind of the focus. And if there was an award to give both of you guys for being able to, like, you're killing this whole interview here. I just, it's razor sharp. I'm telling you, man. It's really good, and I feel a little bit off balance because it might be the tequila, but it might also be how razor sharp you guys are with the questions and the facts.
We had months to prepare for this, and literally there's a playlist that went around the brand show chat that was all you, 7L.
They took a month off.
Yeah, we took a month off.
They took a month off. I would like to emphasize they took a month off.
This is our first episode back because we took a month off. Chris isn't here because of family reasons, but we took some time off to kind of refocus the show, work on everything, and we had it planned. Like we said, okay, Bobby Val is our last episode. It was supposed to be Lloyd Kaufman from Trauma, and Lloyd got moved in January. So we moved everything around, and we said, okay, this is how we're going to do it. We're gonna start with Esoteric. Then we're gonna come in. We're gonna have well, I'll just break this for you guys now. Arif S. Kinchin, Pierce from Saints Row 3 is our next guest on the 15th. And then in December, we have Renee Jacobs, who played April O'Neil.
Oh, very cool.
So, yeah, and that's going to be hosted by myself and Kevin Monroe, who did the 2007 Ninja Turtle series.
And in that time, we also started developing new shows, like my show about tabletop gaming.
So it's we had time to get ready for this, and I had time to really absorb everything you and I talked about, and that from sole purpose that leads to one of my favorite conversations in the universe, because there's a man in this that nobody can see. He could be right behind me right now for all I know, but let's talk about Bars of Death and then your appearance on John Cena's record, You Can't See Me, on the track Beantown.
Yeah, word. Let's do it.
So
you got to
a phenomenal record, spring of 2004. That was on Baby Grande, right? And then
Baby Grande, yeah.
I can't see him because he's probably right behind me. John Cena hit you up about working on his record, and then there was an album in between that, Moment of Rarities, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, that was a compilation record from a bunch of songs that we never released, the Moment of Rarities thing. But yeah, working with John was just a ton of fun. And we didn't the thing about working with John is that I feel like some people don't connect the dots. The reason that we did that is because I was in a group with his cousin, Trademark, for a long time. Yeah, one of the original guys that I grew up rhyming with, and he, I met him through 7L, and that was another tendril or tentacle that came out of Salem State from doing that radio show. Another extension. And these guys, him and 7L, they were working together with Karma, making their own records, and then brought me on board, and we all became good friends. And then, Trademark, his name's Mark, was like, let's go out here, let's go out there, let's go to the bar, whatever. My cousin John's coming, and I was like, okay, bring John. This guy's coming all the way from Newburyport. We got to wait for him and shit, No, seriously, or Newbury, West Newbury,
so
whatever.
Long.
And yeah. Oh, no, it was. And I was like, who is this guy? And then he shows up and he's just like diesel like this. I was like, okay, cool. He can come with us because he's our protection, so we can go wherever. And we got cooler and closer over the years or whatever. And just an all around class act and great dude, and always was true to the game as far as hip hop goes, with freestyling and writing lyrics, rhyming. I'm talking about Cena now. Mm-hmm. And then it just got to the point where we got the news from Mark that John broke into the WWE and was wrestling, and we were very excited. And then all of a sudden we're watching John on TV doing his thing and coming out, and 7L wound up producing his first theme song, and he would come out to the ring, so we'd be able to watch him come out to the ring.
Life that he 7L produced.
Yes.
Life.
Yep.
I didn't even know that. What?
Okay. Yeah. So when you hear, if you know that, where it's like, I'm untouchable and I'm forcing you to feel me or whatever, that's me. So he's 7L's cutting me there, and then John raps and Trademark raps. But it just became this very fun time, because not only could we watch John wrestle on TV, we could also play SmackDown on PS2 and hear our own stuff on there, and then create our own characters, build our own characters. And it was just like, it's a really cool time, man. It was a lot of fun. And being part of that record was something that I never would have dreamed of being able to be part of. It's a diamond, platinum or diamond record. It's sold like millions and millions of copies, and very cool, because the things I grew up with as a kid that got me out of the doldrums of childhood was Marvel superheroes, DC superheroes, Star Wars, wrestling, and being able to touch all those bases through doing hip hop, which is my primary love. It just very, I don't know. I think about that. I'm like, wow, man, I've been able to kind of stick my foot in all these doors. Well, not Star Wars yet, but yeah. But John was able. Well, there's no hip hop in Star Wars. You can't really put hip hop in there unless I join like Cy Snoodle's band and they kind of do a hip hop thing, and that would be I think that would turn me off
I
pretty
mean,
quick. But if I was part of it, I might roll the. I might be part. I'm like, yo, it should be hip hop and Star Wars, you know. But if I saw someone else doing it, I'd be like, yo, that's the wackest shit ever. Why would they have rap out there at the Outer Rim?
Now I just
anyway.
want you to rap over the Cantina band just to see what it sounds like.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh no, I definitely played around with those, sampling those and putting drums to them just for fun. But yeah, but anything Star Wars related hits me right in the stomach. So,
And honestly, that's
yeah.
That's the thing about your story that always speaks to me, because I was also that poor kid that grew up on comics, hip hop, wrestling. Like we didn't have much growing up, but my mom had 25 cents to take me to the comic shop down the street to get some cheap comics that nobody ever read from their bin. And that start out gets me here today talking to you.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, well, yeah. I and me to you. So it's one of those things where it's just like, you get those books and they're ingrained in your brain forever. Like I'll never forget picking up Web of Spider-Man #1 at Gerard's in Dorchester for, I think it was like 75 cents. And then going over to Boston Bowl and being able to bowl with my grandmother's quarters. And I'd get comic books, and then I'd go play like Gallagher or something and bowl. And it was just like this whole thing that we do every weekend. And, Spider-Man 252. There's a lot of times that you just, exactly. Yeah. And you just remember these things.
Yeah.
And to have them, I don't know, still relevant in your life today is special to me anyway. That's why when we got involved with the Venom soundtrack, it was just like, wow, this is crazy to me. And just from rapping, and putting all my energy into that, I get to, be involved with this type of thing where I never really left these things that I loved so much as a kid. And then having my son, who's 14 now, he put all of this stuff back on steroids for me, because all these things I could just show him and teach him about. And then now he's teaching me about stuff, because he's much, he's even more hyper focused on all the stuff things that I even forgot. It's kind of like, or my daughter, who's in second grade now, she knows more about second grade math than I can even remember. So it's like they know this stuff now because it's all fresh in their memory and they're learning it. And same thing with, superheroes, cartoons.
Let's be real.
Comics.
No kid who graduated 95 to 2000 knows shit about math.
I don't.
We don't.
I don't know.
But,
I'm gonna let y'all know a secret. I'm smart as hell. I never passed algebra.
It's
okay.
Cool.
I didn't either.
Neither did I. But I never wanted to be in math. My goal was always radio, and I interned at AAF when I was in college. And, then radio, the day I graduated, literally radio fell apart. And it was like, all right, what am I going to do now? And then I was like, all right, fine, I'm just going to go into IT. That was my backup plan, and that's been the plan ever since. And I remember how this podcast started. I came out of surgery when they cut a piece of my colon out after my wonderful fight with cancer. And I texted Smalls, and I texted a couple other friends, and I was like, guys, we got to do a fucking podcast. Must have been in a fever dream, must have still been high, but I was like, guys, we need to do something. Like we don't do enough like within this. And like we started our TikTok, and we started a streaming channel during the pandemic and everything like that, and it just all went to the wayside when I got sick, and we came back and we were all like, dude, let's do this. And that's how we got here today. And that's how we started building this and making it what it is. And just the ridiculous friends list we have gotten to come through this show so far in 7 episodes is something we're really proud of. But like you said, it's something we're attached to. Like, look at this basement. It's
very cool.
I remember when Becca and I moved in here, and she moved in 6 months before I did. And I came over for the first time, and she walked me downstairs, and she goes, all those comic books you got in your sunroom at your house in Providence? Because I was living outside of Providence. She goes, all this could be yours. I don't think she ever expected this. And Rebecca, if you're in the chat, feel free to tell the story or walk down the stairs and come stand in front of the mic and tell this story and tell people how I've literally destroyed our basement. It's fine. But, man, it's crazy how pop culture connects the world. And to get back to John here for a second, look at what John Cena has become to pop culture. I don't care what anybody says about the man. He is legitimately, if you're talking the ruthless aggression era, he is the greatest of all time. A 16-time world champion, great with kids. He has done everything. And let me tell you, Peacemaker is the best freaking comic related show that was ever done, an underrated character that always deserved a bigger spotlight, and he gave that spotlight to him.
You want to know something really funny?
I always want to do something really funny.
I used to sell cigars to his dad. His dad was one of my regulars for a very long time when I worked.
Senior?
Yeah, when I worked at the cigar joint, he was on my private accounts list. He used to get stuff from me all the time.
I wish Smalls was here, because Smalls, before he came to work with me at Amazon during the day, he used to work at Best Buy in Salem, and John's dad used to come in and buy all of John's TVs. So he would tell you the Papacina story.
Oh,
but for
that's funny.
But for those of you who don't know John Cena Sr. either, fantastic wrestling promoter, should have been bigger than he really is. Johnny Fabulous, fantastic human being. I've had the chance to chat with him many a times at wrestling shows. Love him to death. And we got to still talk about your solo career. We got to talk about Esoteric versus Japan, Prison Planet, Saving Seamus Ryan, but let's get back into pop culture here for a second. That's a really good piece to this whole thing. Now, I kind of want to talk. I want to talk about the Super 7 partnership. Our last guest, Bobby Valla, really hates Super 7.
Billy is an instigator, and likes to just.
Let me tell you.
Billy's an instigator and likes to throw gasoline on fire because it's really funny, honestly.
But let's talk about Super 7, because I'm a big fan. I love them. I love what they're doing. I remember I missed the first 3 Czarface reaction figures, and I'm kicking myself now because the original's $180 on eBay. And then there's the secondary gray variant, and then there's the glow-in-the-dark variant. And I'm looking at easily $150 to $200 a figure, except for the glow-in-the-dark figure. Sometimes don't pay your bills, kid. Buy action figures. Anyway, but
do not take his advice. Pay your bills so you have a place to store your action figures. Do not sue us when you get evicted because Billy said dumb stuff.
Let's talk about this, because I remember the first time I saw the Ultimate, and it was in a video you posted on Instagram where you pulled the doors open on a crate and you pulled it out, and I was like, son of a bitch, they're doing the Ultimate.
Yeah, it's right over there actually. It's it's such a cool thing to happen, man. I could never ever anticipate it getting to even the reaction figure, the first reaction figure. I was like, oh my god, this is it started with that's the Sucklord figure, the first Czarface figure in 2013, and that was a very limited run, and then we worked with Killer Bootlegs on making the next wave, and then the fans kept saying, yo, when is the Super 7 Czarface figure coming, like a reaction figure? And I would just look at that and get tagged in things, and suddenly I wound up speaking to Brian Flynn about everything, and he was like, let's do it. And I was like, okay, let's do it, man. I'll write the bio for the back of the card. It was very exciting because I was thinking like, oh yeah, man, I remember the G.I. Joe cards. You'd write they have all the different details and power rankings and details about the character and stuff. I was very excited to write it. And then we're doing the first figure, then the second figure, then the glow-in-the-dark figure, and then Tsar Noir. And next we have an Ultimates figure. And I just couldn't believe it, man. I think there might be another Ultimates on the horizon as well, which would be 2024, I think, that's coming out. But I couldn't. I don't know. So, I guess I can't articulate it, man. But just being able to arrive at the point where we can have our own physical action figures that comes from making hip hop records. It's just things that I've grew up loving, and just being able to put them together. I don't know.
Man, but think about the licenses that Super 7 has touched too. Like behind me, Masters of the Universe. They have Star Trek now. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Yeah. They're a powerhouse. They have my dear friend Jerry Only. They have the Misfits. I mean, they finally someone gave me a scratch figure because I don't have $1,800 to buy an original.
Very cool.
I mean, Rebecca would probably. Yeah. She almost murdered me when I bought Hotspot. I don't know how I'm here to do this interview, but I'm probably going to walk upstairs and take a knife to the gut. She's going to be standing there in a Michael Myers mask, just ready for me. Hey, Billy, here I come.
Well, listen, I mean, that team works their butts off doing everything. I mean, when we were at New York Comic Con, when we put out the Saucony with the actual reaction figure wearing the Sauconys. I
Crazy
got to
shit
really
too.
spend a lot of time with the staff, and people, they're just locked in, and I can't believe it to even be in the same sentence as some of the bands that they make figures for, but some of the properties too, such as Transformers or GI Joe or the Ninja Turtles. I don't know, it's surreal to me. And I think I told you before, Billy, I feel like I have a very vivid memory. I think it was like 1984, picking up that first Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles issue and having it signed by Eastman and Laird at Million Year Picnic in Cambridge.
Damn.
I remember standing in line, and it was one of these things. I was like, "Yeah, well, I'm here. I'm going to wait in line to get this comic. I think it should be pretty cool." And I just remember that silver Sharpie coming out, and just like boom, 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 and I'm going home with it. And I didn't sell it for a Peloton.
No, I
but
sold my third print as part of it, and I'm glad I saved the art. Listen, I'm just a humble IT dude. A Peloton is not cheap. But,
I have a Raphael animation cell somewhere around here.
What?
Yeah.
So old school Guy Gilchrist is what you're talking right now.
Oh no, I don't. Here it is. What's this?
Yeah, that's Guy Gilchrist. That's from I don't know the episode, but that's definitely Guy Gilchrist's work. That's either Guy or that's Steve Levine.
I love that you don't know the episode. I feel like
Isn't it great when he doesn't know something about the stuff?
Hold it up closer. Let's see.
Actually, if you do know if you do know the episode, we're gonna have you like arrested because your brain's got to be donated
bodies,
to something
basement.
bigger
That's
than
all
this.
I'm saying. Like behind that wall of
is,
toys,
man?
it's just
2
bodies.
2 years of cancer and chemo brain, and then your brain just finally starts clearing out and like starts working again. This is what happens.
Yeah.
I do not know the episode though. It looks like it looks later seasons. So I would say anywhere between season 5 and season 10.
Okay.
Just by the logo on it too, because that's the logo from 2003. But yeah,
okay.
I can't off just there's too many episodes.
I'm so impressed. I really am.
It's scary, right? I mean, like I just got Chrome Dome's head sitting right on my desk.
Oh, look at that.
You're not helping the entire like serial killer thing. I just got random heads on my desk.
Listen, Destro is the original Chrome Dome, though. I want to make that clear since we're pulling figures up.
He is the GOAT.
All right, even though he's definitely. Can we get him repainted somehow? Do you know somebody? He's got a real bald spot back there.
I got some people. I can see who I can do.
I'm sure you do. I'm sure you do. Yeah. But anyway, yeah, Turtles, all that stuff. Just being affiliated with Super 7 in any capacity has just been a real blessing. So, we're happy.
You kind of broke it here again. More breaking news from the brand show. We're going to be seeing a second Czarface Ultimate.
Yeah, I shouldn't have said anything about that, and it's not definite yet. But we're
Are you kidding?
We're talking about it.
Brent and Daniel would tell me anyway.
I feel like there's cooler things that we're doing with Super 7 that we haven't even spoken about yet than the Ultimate. So I could break more news, but I won't.
No,
but
let's not say we did.
Okay. I'm excited about what's to come.
Knowing Super 7, you're probably getting a Super Cyborg figure, or you're getting a whole clothing line within them.
Well, we do our own clothing.
Yeah,
we do. And actually, they did this shirt here. Actually, this is a Super 7 Czarface shirt.
That's a great shirt.
Collaborative shirt. Yeah. My man Bags Brown did the art here, which is just phenomenal. Who's this? Quick.
93 Colossus. He came with weights and he lifted them up. Toy Biz. That is. Oh wait, hold it up a little closer. That's Return of the Jedi packaging. That's Han Solo. No, that's not Han. That's not the Jedi packaging.
It's Han. It's Empire.
Is it the Empire packaging? Because they re-released it twice.
Okay, fine. Whatever. You know something?
Bow before
I deal with this.
Bow before my useless knowledge.
Look. So I'm going to tell you a little secret.
Archangel
after he goes off this one.
One of my favorite figures. The Marvel Legends one's excellent too.
Every single
person
person on this staff has the one thing that they can do the Billy Nickel trick with. Smalls will tell you about bands you've never heard of, despite not seeing the most common movies.
Yeah, Smalls.
My thing is do you want to know the history of all of Faerun and Waterdeep? Because that's just in my head. I just know that I just know that forever, and I will tell you about all of the NPCs that are official and how they died, because that's just a thing that I will never know until I die.
I'm pretty. I feel like as the casual viewer that would be watching this might think this was pre-rehearsed. The way that you're gunning down all these figures that I'm pulling up, it just doesn't. I can just pull up whoever, and you're just going to name what it is, the year, everything else. I'm pretty impressed.
Two things were just told to me by my wife. Rebecca, first of all, says hello, and she goes, "My God,
Hi.
I love you, but you know the most useless shit."
I agree.
I have a bevy of useless knowledge, my friends.
It's not useless though. It's blowing my mind. Actually, I'm very impressed at how quick it is. You know what I mean?
But what I grew up with. This is what we do.
An animation cell, and you were just like, oh well, I think that's the older logo, and I can tell by the his thighs. His thighs are more defined. His thighs weren't as defined.
The turtle collection over here, man, let me tell you, it starts right. You can kind of see the turtle machine here. It starts right on the other side of it. Some of the stuff that's over there. Here, Jay, take over for 2 seconds.
Now I'm in charge.
Okay.
You're in charge.
No, I think we should just all stare at Billy for a minute while he just abandons the interview mid-interview to go get a toy.
I can't. Well, since you and I are talking, the way I have this set up, I can't see him. I'm glad you dressed up for this event, by the way.
I know I'm a consummate professional. I just also like to look better than Billy. It's my thing. I like to be fashionable.
I'm really.
I did pull something back to loop back into an earlier conversation. So earlier you were talking about vinyl, all the different styles. I just pulled a few pieces aside just to show chat the kind of stuff you were talking about. Because I have Danger Doom.
Oh, dope.
Which came on the heavier weight vinyl. You can see it actually on the camera.
What's that? 180 gram or something like that.
And then alternative pressing styles. You got stuff like this one, which is from an independent artist that I like.
Oh, dope. Who is that?
That's Nick Lesko. He does weird comedy songs on the internet. He's a TikTok dude.
Oh, that's great. So, and he was able to put out some records.
He did this on Bandcamp.
We did. Okay.
Yeah.
So was that funded before he pressed it, or did he have that and then?
It was crowdfunded.
Crowdfunded. Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
And that's all stand up, or it's with music too.
It's music too. It's called Songs from the Internet.
Song. Oh, okay. I feel so out of touch. Let me see the cover.
Yeah. Second.
That was a really cool colorway on the vinyl.
Yeah, I know. I'm a big fan of it.
Yeah. Oh, that's great.
Wild, dude. Holy shit.
Yeah. He just does weird songs on the internet about politics, the movie Gremlins, the whole lot of other things.
Do you know how many of those records were made? Do you know?
That I don't know, because I got this forever ago. This was from back in 2020. All I know is my name's also on the back because he listed everybody that backed it as a producer.
Oh, that's dope. Okay. The thing I'm taking away from this more is that you said this was from forever ago. It was from 2020.
The internet time works weird. All right.
I'm telling you, time is an illusion.
Time goes way too fast, but
even my own buddy, I got a buddy Zane. He makes beats under the name Purple Dialect down here in my area. And he does his own releases the same way, either crowdfunds vinyl or he still does cassette tape releases of beats.
Oh, that's cool. That's very cool, man.
You just released Armageddon on cassette a couple years ago too, didn't you?
We did, yeah. That was probably forever ago, 2022.
God, man, that 2022 was so long ago. Speaking of so long ago, are you ready for a crazy?
That came with cards.
Oh, and they look like the original 91 Marvel Universe cards.
I love that.
God.
Exactly.
What?
Yeah. So we had a bunch of the cards that came with Armageddon. Here's a cassette. What? We were talking about cassettes, and it's a lot of fun being able to do all this stuff and make a living doing it.
I mean, you've brought back the '90s, plain and simple, and that's a cool thing. Now, since you had the '90s when you were a kid, tell me, what is this?
Is that Sloth from Goonies? I really can't see it.
Wait, hold on.
Yeah, isn't it?
No, that's
it's
Toxie.
Oh, Toxic Avenger. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're gonna have Lloyd Kaufman on the show.
He will be on, but this is an original candy head from Tops.
Okay.
Still has the candy in it.
Yeah, it was clearly Toxic Avenger, and I feel like there's so many. When you have Lloyd Kaufman on, you got to talk to him about James Gunn, and James Gunn just took over the DC universe.
Yep.
Pretty big news.
We plan on it. Here's a French release of the original Toxic Waste.
Oh, okay.
Fat Nuts and Chad's talking about Record Store Day. I did not get anything Record Store Day exclusive, but I did get this.
Great record.
From my local record store.
Record so much. So
thanks.
We're gonna get more obscure here with a Warrior Michelangelo from the late releases of Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's what, circa 92.
92. Yeah. Okay. You know your stuff. Ready? Who's this? It's not Paul Pierce.
I don't want to play this game because I can't keep.
Welcome to the rest of the show.
I know you can do it. I know you can. Listen, we still got Esoteric versus Japan and stuff, and we're gonna get there. But geez,
So my very first episode of Nerd Fight is Billy versus Esso. That's what we're doing now. That's the rest of the show. Y'all have a great time.
I should be wearing my glasses, but from the phone that I'm using right now, that looks like Homer Simpson to me. That's the colors that I see. And I know it's not.
Half court.
Oh, okay. All right. From
Turtles.
No, I'm only kidding.
All right, here's a really obscure one for you, Mr. Seamus Ryan.
I feel like we're delving into drunk history, but from toys. Is that Merman from He-Man? I really can't.
I
know it's not Merman, but he's
Winged Warrior Leonardo from the Forgotten Sewers line.
See, what he's not telling you, Esso, is he's cheating. When you show him things, it's on his nice large computer monitor. He's trying to play this game against you while you're on a phone without glasses.
If you want me to switch to a phone, I'll do it.
If I could, and I don't, I'd have to go upstairs and get a phone up there. But if I could take a picture of what I'm working with to look through this thing,
it's a phone size.
Right,
it's
how about this?
It's this.
Yes.
I was going to say I'd send it to you.
It's on this. I have a little stand here that my son uses to make his stop motion animation. Right. But the way that it's set up is very it's archaic, and I'm in front of a computer here, and I have a computer over there.
I'll be honest.
Laptop there. But
I mentioned I do baking. That's me whenever I'm baking. Just a little tiny phone with the recipe on it, set up on the stove.
All right, Chad.
You're very different than Billy, huh? Because you're into baking and your
algorithm, your
TikTok algorithm has woodworking stuff.
I'm like the most traditional, old school dude on the crew.
All right, last one. Who is this?
On a Tuesday night. That looks like Reese from Return of the Jedi. No, it's this is from Thundercats. Oh. Hamburglar.
You get it, dude. You win right there, just on the Hamburglar joke alone. That's Hotspot, and I'm not gonna say out loud how much this cost me because I will be divorced by the end of this episode if I do.
Put a finger up, and I'll add 3 zeros to it.
You don't need 3 zeros. It's you can drop 375 from that number. We'll call it a day.
Okay.
It's not cheap, plain and simple. But anyway,
cool.
All right, let's get back into this because these side conversations.
That's cool.
This is what the brand show is.
What wrestler's tagline was that? That's cool.
That's Carlito. Spits in the face of people who don't want to be cool. Bro, I'm a pop culture junkie. What can I say? When you scroll my Instagram, you're going to be like, my God, what does this do with his time?
I just Googled that figure. Oh, now I see.
I don't sleep, man. Let me tell you. It's one of those things. I go to work at 8:30. I get done at 5. I do this shit afterwards. God bless you.
So what do you do during the day without... I'm a
support analyst for a home security camera company. We'll
Okay.
talk offline about that. I'll show you. But yeah, I'm a pop culture junkie. This is something I've always been into, something I've always loved. And it's, this is where we film everything. This is where we do all of our stuff. Like any of those TikToks you see where I snap and a toy comes open. It's all done right here. All done right here.
Yeah.
Just goofing off, having fun, and started with my friends. And here we are interviewing one of the greatest MCs of all time. It's a crazy parallel how this all came together, and you have the opportunity to work with people you've admired and people that are your heroes. Same thing like with working in hip hop, man. When you're an entertainer, when you're someone who creates content and you just start building something, like, dude, we would regularly end the show in 8 minutes, and we're nowhere near done because we got to talk about Esoteric versus Japan, and we'll talk. Hell, I'll go to work tomorrow and I'll be sitting at my desk. I gotta reset this. I don't care. It's worth it to me. Anyway, so we talked about the Sole Purpose and Bars of Death. There's one last side story that I thought was really funny from the Bars of Death, and that's the parallel between The Time Is Now and the Bars of Death. You told me this story, and this was a funny-ass story. The recording studio, if I'm not mistaken, Bars of Death was here, Time Is Now was here.
Oh, logically, but I mean, it was the same studio.
Yeah, it was all done in the same
mic.
studio, and that's wild
Yeah.
to think.
Oh yeah, I mean, absolutely, yeah, same studio, and we would be in the same studio with John and just recording. Yeah, absolutely. It was in Linfield, Mass. DJ Chaos was the engineer for Bars of Death stuff and The Time Is Now stuff, and yeah, so quite a time in life, man. 2004, 2005, I think was the era.
Yeah, about that time, and then from there, solo career began. Now this was Fly Casual, and well, we have something to celebrate anyway because it was 2-3 weeks ago. Eagle Clapper turned 15.
Oh yeah, it did. Yeah, which is crazy in itself because I feel like I just got finished making that. It just time flies, man. When you have kids and I guess it flies for everyone for different reasons, but yeah, that was 15 years ago, and I think I started making solo records because me and 7L, it got to this point where I felt like we did everything we wanted to do at that point, and we were kind of naive because we've been able to do a little bit more since then. But we were in a record deal we weren't happy with, in a relationship with the people that were making our records that we weren't happy with at that point. And he was DJing a lot, traveling around, going to LA, doing DJing different spots. And I still wanted to keep rapping. So I started producing my own stuff and making my own records. And I made a record called Ego Clapper. And I have like this little tiny version of it here. And then Esoteric versus Japan. And then it was a way to keep busy. And it was a lot of fun to create that stuff and freewheel and not overthink the creative process, which was very rewarding at the time, because everything before that, it was like just kind of overanalyzing everything. And these records were like, you know what? I don't care what people are thinking about. I don't care what anybody thinks. We've already done this and that. And yeah, it became, a little, I think, a trilogy of records between Ego Clapper, Esoteric versus Japan, and Saving Seamus Ryan. And that little pocket there was a part of our career, but it was a necessary step to get to where Czarface, took off.
Well, we're getting close to that piece of history now. Esoteric versus Japan is a fucking cool record, man. Like, it's all beats from Japanese artists, if I'm not mistaken.
The beats are so good on that album.
Godzilla's in there in places, Force 5's in there, Shogun Warriors, Rodin's in there. So it's some crazy niche, like, you have to understand Japanese culture and love Japanese culture, rad shit. And it's wild. What brought you to that? Because it's just so, it's unique. It's fun. It's interesting. It's on brand for you, but.
Yeah, I feel like Creature Double Feature, Channel 56, growing up at WLVI back in the day, you'd see Godzilla, Mecha Godzilla, Rodan, Jet Jaguar, all these guys fighting on TV. And it was like one of these things where if you weren't watching the Super Friends or you weren't watching Spider-Man and His Amazing Friends, you could tune in and you could see the Toho movies with Godzilla just on LVI for the Boston area folks. And
Yeah,
shout
I
out to Mr.
remember
Biggs Toyland and
TV
Waltham.
56.
Yeah. So all that whole era of Guy King and Vanguard Ace and Godzilla himself, the Jumbo toys and everything. You could only get them in one place in Waltham, Mass, at Mr. Biggs Toyland, and the movies. It was just part of more again reflecting on my childhood, things that helped me escape from the actual reality of life, and I just was able to kind of regurgitate it all on a record. You know what I mean? And I guess I got carried away, culling from different Japanese artists, sampling bass lines here, sound effects here, wrestling matches from New Japan, pro wrestling there, and bringing it all onto one record, you know? So it was a lot of fun.
You said 4 of my favorite words put together: New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
This is my moment. This is my moment here. I actually paid a friend to draw Godzilla fighting Reptar. I commissioned a friend to do a kaiju fight between Reptar from Rugrats and Godzilla.
Oh, that's crazy. Okay.
All right, so
let's
ask the question.
Nice.
So
like
you know Rugrats because you were probably in your late teens, early 20s when it came out. Who would win in a fight, Reptar or Godzilla?
Godzilla. I mean,
okay, good.
Godzilla. Am I cutting out? Because you guys are pausing. Godzilla.
Yeah, you cut out on us for a second there. You're good.
Okay. Godzilla. I mean, what type of question is that?
I mean,
Reptar is kind of
some people might
it's a
pick
better
Reptar.
name.
No, look, all the art behind me, except for like 2 pieces, is art that's from friends because I collect my friends' art as a policy.
That is a good way to do things. It really is.
Policy.
It really is.
Like especially when Jay, when you come up here and you see a show, when you go to a fan expo or Rhode Island Comic Con and you see Ian Nichols, Bill Walker,
I live in Artist Alley at cons.
Exactly. But up here we have Joe St. Pierre, we have Ian Chase Nichols, we have Bill Walker. We have so many insanely talented artists. Joe Schmackel, who created the Electric Black with Rich Woodall. There's just so many crazy artists. Like and when you run this scene, when you're all around this scene, and man, it's cool. It's a great scene to be a part of. And if any of you guys are not like ever been to a Comic-Con, I highly recommend it. Highly recommend going to hang out at a Comic-Con, meet people, see people in costumes, buy things, spend all your money, especially if Esso's there, buy all his shit.
Artist Alley is exciting, man, because you can just see all the artists that you look at their art in books, and there they are. You know.
Well,
from
we're gonna bring that up too. So we're gonna bring that up too. Like we're gonna get into that because you just did something really wild with one of my favorite people in the whole world, in Todd McFarlane. But we'll get to that.
Oh,
There's more to talk about. Let's talk about. Oh man, there's some fun stuff here. Collaborations working again with DC, the Mid Alien, and well, I'm reading my script right. Brick Records and Kill Bill. This is a good one because Kill Bill O'Reilly. Let's talk about Kill Bill O'Reilly.
Whoa. I'm sorry. I'm checking my messages here.
You're good.
Can you
Don't
still
you
see
worry.
me?
We can still see you.
Yeah. So yeah, we don't have to go through my entire. That's a long time. You know what I mean? And I know that we had an 8:30 to 10 o'clock window. I don't want to keep you guys too much longer because, it's I'm exhausted. I'm very tired.
I can see it. Well, dude, father of 2. We're doing a million things.
Well, we were doing Halloween last night, and then we got carried away, and we were out for a while. And I'm not trying to say I'm done, but fuck Bill O'Reilly. We can put that.
All right, we'll leave
put
it
a bow
at that.
on that.
So we'll move to one last piece here, which is actually important to this entire conversation, and then we'll move on to Czarface. Okay, let's talk about Server Suffer, which you dedicated to my hero, one of my heroes, one of the probably the greatest artist to ever live. I'm sorry, Kevin Eastman. I'm sorry to everybody I've ever called a god, a goat, dedicated to the late, great Jack Kirby. And this was featured in the Jack Kirby Museum, was it not?
Yeah, it was, which was just insane in itself, you know. Silver Surfer was a play on Silver Surfer with the logo, and that's kind of I just love the Silver Surfer logo so much that I wanted to come up with a way to title the album as a nod to that whole era that I came up with. And I just played with the letters and came up with Silver Surfer. I was like, oh, that kind of makes sense, you know. Silver Surfer. It's a abstract title, but I was able to pull it off. And then, yeah, all of a sudden it's in the Jack Kirby Museum. And yeah, it was cool. It was great, man. It's just, that was an instrumental record. So I didn't have to rhyme on that. I just kind of produced everything, flipping a lot of samples, a lot of sound bites, a lot of, you know, finger drumming on with break beats and so forth. It was a lot of fun to make.
You know, but a lot.
You know
I do love a good Beats album.
Yeah, and man, it's Jack Kirby.
Here's Silver Surfer #1.
Don't even get me started. Origin of Silver Surfer, my holy grail. I owned it, I sold it, and I hate myself for selling it.
It's signed by Stan Lee, and it's just kind of hanging around here. It's not bagged and boarded or slabbed. It's just here.
Did he sign it in pen?
It's Sharpie.
Oh, it's on. Now I see it. It's right between his legs.
Yeah. I couldn't direct where he signed it. I mean, this is where he went with it. You know, I was like, why don't you hit him in the sternum? And he was like, you know what? I'm just gonna go right here in the cosmos. And ow,
right in the cosmos.
Right in the cosmos.
right in the cosmos.
Right in the cosmos.
Yeah, I don't know. It just I thought so. Silver Surfer, you know how the logo is on the cover. It was just kind of a dedication to that whole era. I should probably put that in plastic.
You should probably send that to CGC or CBCS and actually get that graded.
Yeah, seriously. I feel like even dropping it the way I just dropped it is was not wise, but it's fine.
Oh shit! Here we go again.
Oh,
it's fine. It's paper. It's paper.
Yeah, but that's a very expensive piece of paper, no matter how much money a year you make.
I just like watching people cause Billy emotional damage.
That is absolute emotional damage.
I just watched him wince, and it was wonderful.
Listen, I'm not a fan of the guy, but I bought it from Little Giant Comics up in Salem before they had a shop, and I paid like $2.75 for that book. I traded my extra copy of New Mutants '98 and my extra copy of New Mutants '87 to pay for it.
Oh, did you want the New Mutants '98? Unbagged? Do you want that as well?
I saw that on your spinner rack in a picture.
Okay, all right. Yeah, let's keep going.
All right, let's move into present time, since, you know, I could go all night because literally that's how much research we did for this episode. Let's talk about the thing that I think everybody in the chat wants to talk about. I'm excited to talk about something that, man, it has been called the new Wu-Tang. You've been called a supergroup. You've been called the second coming of the Wu-Tang Clan. And this literally is a goddamn supergroup. It's you, Inspector Deck, and probably one of the most well-known, well-respected DJs in the world in 7L, and that is Czarface. I tried to find a sound clip so every time I said Czarface, I could press a button and it would go, Czarface, but couldn't find one on the internet, and I forgot to ask you if you had one. But
I have several, like right here. I have many.
Yeah.
But you know, that's the thing about if you're doing it live. You know, if you do it
a little tougher,
there's pros and cons. Yeah, if you kind of record this and then you do it later, you can just boop, 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 boop.
Yeah, better for us to do it live because, you know, our motto is we're gonna fuck up somewhere. Might as well do it live. We're doing it live.
Do it live.
Yeah,
exactly. Speaking of Bill O'Reilly.
Yeah, fuck him.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about Czarface. This was, I mean, the seeds were planted in '99. We talked about it earlier in the episode. Jay, I know you really want to talk about this, so why don't you take point?
I had an ADHD moment. I'm sorry, they happen sometimes. My brain shut off for like 2.5 seconds.
I thought your name was Zero.
My name is Zero and everything. He just also calls me by my proper Christian name of Jay.
What I need is attention. I call him Jay.
He
Wow.
can tell after 15 years that sometimes my brain just shuts off for a second.
That's like calling Daredevil Matt when
And I'm just like, what's
it's
up?
not.
What do you need?
So anyway, let's talk about this. February 19th, 2013. Big day. Big day. First album, Czarface. How did this all come together? How did you get... I mean, we know you've known Deck since the early 90s. You guys are the closest of friends. You and 7L, your careers are paralleled. It's never been Esoteric featuring. It's always been 7L and Esoteric. So like that felt organic, but the addition of Inspector Deck, I remember the first time I heard about this, I was like, holy shit. That was 2014. I remember, I forget what I heard first in somebody's car, but I was like, my God, what is this? And he goes, oh, it's Czarface. It's Esoteric, Inspector Deck, and 7L. And I was like, wait,
I'll be honest. I got here via the MF Doom path of Czarface discovery. I was a big MF Doom fan. I have a bunch of his albums, and then he's like, "Oh, there's this new MF Doom album out called Czarface Meets Metalface. It's right there behind me." And I'm like, that's how I got to you.
Yes, nice,
Yeah,
man.
This is the
That's
album
great.
that got me to discover you because I was just going out because I heard the MF Doom had this new album out.
Yeah,
And that's what got me into Czarface.
all right. Yeah, that was a real blessing to be able to make that record, and still can't, put it into context because everything moves so fast. But yeah, that was great. Yeah, so
Now
Czarface.
I got albums, I got comic books, I have a thirst for a one day to have a mask.
Oh yeah. Right.
Well, it was all over social yesterday, Halloween, everybody having the Czarface 3D printed mask.
I'm like, yo, I have a 3D printer. Maybe I just make my own mask.
Hey, where there's a will, there's a way.
So let's dive into this. How did it come together? What was the thought process here when you guys put two and two together and said, fuck it, let's make a record?
Yeah, it really started with 7L having the idea to make a record with me and Deck being the MCs. And I just thought it was a far-fetched, ridiculous idea that wouldn't come to fruition at all. He's like, why don't we just make an album with you and Deck rhyming? And I was thinking like, well, we were lucky enough to make a few records with him in the past with the Speaking Real Words and 12th Chamber. And, we were sending him beats here and there and keeping in contact, and hanging out every once in a while. But it just seemed like a far-fetched idea to make a whole album. And, I reached out to Deck and he was down to make an album together. And that was kind of a new lease on life for us. So I started taking it more seriously where I said, well, if we're going to make a record, we should kind of put something behind it and make it more than just Esoteric and Inspector Deck. It's got to be something that is new and somewhere where our interests intersect, and came up with Czarface, the name, and then the character and the likeness that, L'Amour Supreme illustrated became the identity of the records. I sat down in New York with L'Amour and talked about what we wanted Czarface to look like, and he just brought it to life. And all of a sudden, we make that first record, and we kind of looked at that as a Hail Mary record for us. And we brought, we put everything we had into that album because we didn't know if we were going to make another one. This was going to be Czarface. This is like this fun record with one of the guys from Wu-Tang Clan who we happened to hit it off with. And then people liked it. So we just said, wow. And Deck liked it a lot. And Deck, for the next album, Deck was like, yo, I'm going to get Method Man on this, and I'm going to get Jizza on this. And these were just favors, you know what I mean? Just by affiliation. They just jumped on it, no business, just jumping on the record just to do it, and on the strength of Deck. And it was like, wow, now we got Every Hero Needs a Villain. And it just kept steamrolling to where we are now. And with the action figures and the merch and the sneakers and so forth. And I don't know.
And
It's been a really
Lamar's art is
fun ride.
iconic, honestly.
Yeah,
Yeah.
especially
Like
that.
everything I've seen Lamar ever do is
Yeah.
just it stands out on its own.
Absolutely.
That alley Lamar just did in Cincinnati, that was cool too. But I'm gonna say this, and I know you're underselling it because you didn't think it was gonna work out. Look at some of the names that are on this album. Like, actually, thinking back here, Savagely Attack was the first song I heard. Ghostface Killer's on there. Rock Marciano's on there. Oh No's on there. Vinny Paz is on there. Capadonna's on there. Like, Action Bronson's on there too. I don't know how this record could fail. I just don't. Like, that's a literal who's who of the rap game.
It is now, yeah. I mean, Action Bronson and Rock Marciano. I mean, Rock Marciano's been around for ages.
He's a legend.
With Flip Mode Squad and stuff. But at that point in 2013, you know, these guys were really on the come up, and they're obviously solidified their place in the game now. So having them on the album then was a real blessing. But Ghostface, obviously, that was like a real milestone for us. And the way that he attacked his verse was just, I still remember where I was when I first heard the verse, and it was like, wow. So, yeah, we're very happy with that. And Vinny, you know, we've been friends with Vinny forever. So having him on that was like something that we just wanted to do and execute. And he delivered. I just, you know, we kind of thought it was this one-time thing, really. And if we were able to get a second album out of it, I mean, that would be just great and unexpected. But then now we're like 10 albums in, and you know, we've done tours together, and it just kind of grew into this thing where, you know, we made a couple albums with MF Doom and an album with Ghostface, a whole dedicated album with Ghostface. We have more things on the horizon that we're, you know, really excited about that we can't talk about, but it grew into this thing that I could never fathom. And I'm just so happy because I feel like a lot of rappers, they come out really hot and then they burn out. And I feel like with me personally, I feel like it kind of went the other way where, you know, it was always a fight, and it was always a learning process, and just staying in the battle, staying in the fight. And now we're kind of seeing some success via Czarface. And, you know, I feel like a lot of the hard work's paid off, you know?
Absolutely. And you know what, it's cool to see that. It's a breath of fresh air in rap where everything is someone saying the same words over and over again, and mumble rap has become so big. It's nice to see old school hip hop still live somewhere, and people still appreciate it. Like, yeah. I say this in all seriousness, and I know Jay's got some stuff he wants to ask, so I'm going to shut up here in a minute. But it's gained such a cult following. You guys are literally the Halloween 3 of the rap game. You guys are that top tier production that nobody gave 2 minutes to for 5 seconds, and all of a sudden comes out bang, and now the world sees you for what you are. Like, Boston has always seen you in 7L for what you guys were. We always loved you. We always appreciated you. We always will. You know how Boston is about our own. We love our own, and we always will love our own. As mad as Patriots fans are that, not that I'm a Patriots fan, but as mad as Patriots fans are that Tom Brady left, will you ever hate him? No, you won't. As mad as people were that, you know, Paul Pierce didn't get to finish his career here, will you ever be mad? No, we understand. We love our own. We respect our own. We keep our own, plain and simple. But
yeah,
Jay, before we get now, chat, we got time for maybe 2 or 3 questions from you guys. Pop your questions in the chat. Jay will grab them and ask Tasso as soon as he's done. But Jay, I know you wanted to talk about Doom, so be my guest.
Really, the first thing I want to say is normally when I pitch Czarface to friends that have never heard it before, I always describe it as the silver age of comics meets the golden age of hip hop.
Yeah.
That's my whole elevator pitch to friends.
Elevator pitch. Yeah.
It's a good elevator pitch.
That's great.
No, we were going to ask the questions at some point or another tonight. What was it like making those 2 albums with Doom?
Oh, it was amazing, man. It was just surreal, really, being able to do that because me and 7L and Deck, we grew up on KMD, third base, that whole era where before Doom had reinvented himself as Doom. You know, he was Zev Love X. You know, and I remember talking to Deck about making a Czarface meets Metal Face album, and he, you know, he was very excited about that, and talked about Doom's place in the hip hop game and how much reverence he has for him, and you know, and I told him, yeah, Doom's down to do this record, man.
And it's such a perfect fit, like just for both of what you were both doing at the time.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, going as far back into Doom's discography as you can, he's always been an influence. You know what I mean? Everything I've always liked about hip hop, and well, not, I guess, you know, something that one of my favorite things about hip hop is playing with samples and playing with sound bites and playing with, you know, somebody's vocals from here, or like an old radio broadcast, or some type of narration, and putting it over a hip hop beat, and just kind of finding things that sound great. And you can take that right back to the first KMD album with Mr. Pickles Jewelry, Mr. Hood, you know, and Doom was there to create all that stuff then.
Yeah, that's so like signature Doom.
Yeah. So, and these are the things that I've always loved about the record. So being able to make these records with him, I just, you know, very, very fortunate. And although we were kind of at a point in our careers where you couldn't get away with sampling things without clearing them, so we had to be creative in a lot of aspects with Czarface meets Metal Face and Super What, in terms of either clearing a sample, replaying a sample. I would do some voiceover things that would sound like, you know, a sample, and do things where I'd pitch things down and kind of,
this is legally distinct enough.
Bob Lazar. That's all I'm gonna say. End of Bob Lazar.
Yeah, making them lo-fi sounding or whatever, and just making it sound like a sample. So we had to kind of play that game a lot. But I mean, it was a real honor, man. You know, and I know a lot of people would love to have had the chance to do that same type of thing, to work with these guys. So, you know, I don't count it as I just feel lucky, you know.
Not a bad thing, man. Hey, listen, you're living the dream. Yeah. You are the dream, my friend.
You went from, you know, this kid in Boston who reads comics to this kid in Boston who makes comics and music.
Yeah, definitely. But it's like, you know, just being a student and fan of hip hop since, I don't know, 86, maybe even 85, and being able to actually participate in it and then make these records and so forth. And just, I don't know, feel lucky, you know what I mean? It's just, here we are. And we just put out this Armageddon album, and we've got more stuff on the horizon. So we're pretty excited about.
I was just about to mention that. I'm like, that just came out in April, fresh off the, you know, the sorry, I have PTSD as well. So sometimes I just Venom, fresh off of Venom 2.
Take your time. Yeah, fresh off of Venom 2, which is just one of those things where I feel like, you know, if we don't do anything else, we did that record, man. We were able to make it happen via Tom Hardy, which is somebody who I've always been like just wowed by in terms of his talent. And he would, yeah. So I don't know, man. It's we definitely put in a lot of work, paid a lot of dues or whatever, but we've also been very, very fortunate to be in a lot of the situations we've been in. You know, and I can't ignore that. Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we stayed in the fight for a long time, and didn't give up, and kept working. And the doing what you love thing is such a cliche, but it's like, I feel like my man Logic had asked me the other day, he was like, what are you doing for fun lately? And I was like, well, my only answer really was rapping and producing, you know, because but I didn't want to really answer with that because it sounded kind of cliche, because we're both MCs, you know. And I was just like, well, you know, playing with the dogs, you know, spending time with the kids, those are fun things to do. But I had to think about it for a while. But I think, as far as making music is still a lot of fun to us. So what I'm doing for fun is being in the studio and recording and trying to outdo myself, trying to improve on the next record and come up with a sound or a flow or a punchline or a metaphor, something that I haven't done yet. And that's a challenge, and it's a fun challenge. And I think a lot of people, try to do that stuff too. And I don't know, I've been able to find a lot of success, not success, personal
satisfaction,
fulfillment, from satisfaction from staying on the same path. And I think a lot of guys have been in the game as long as we have been, and we're all crazy, to stay in it as long as we have. So, when you get a guy like me that's been doing this shit for so long, there's something going on upstairs that might be abnormal. And, but we're making our own paths, and I don't know. I'm happy doing what we're doing.
We all go through life, and I'll leave this before we open it up for you guys to answer some questions. We all go through life figuring out how we do things. Steve Jobs once said, "I'll fail 30 times before I win once." And I've always lived by that mantra. Yeah. I've failed at least 99 times, and then I won once or twice. It's okay. It happens. But when you're on that path that makes sense to you, it's all that matters, man. That's all it needs to be.
That's also the common thing. We're all creators, all three of us in some way. Creating is the happy place. It's where I get to exert control over the world around me is when I create.
Don't get me wrong. I love being with my wife and my dog and my kids, but this is who I am.
Yeah.
This is definitely who I am.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And that
absolutely.
Be unapologetically you, that's the best way I can put it. And God, I sound like I'm giving a fucking motivational speech now. Guys, go out and chase your dreams. This is not
a high school reunion.
Like, do what Mark Wahlberg said and be a fucking doer. Be a doer! All right, guys, let's take some questions for the crowd.
And grind.
Pain and gain, right?
Yeah.
Good reference for you. All right, Jay, you got some questions from the crowd. Let's wrap it up, because I know this man's going to be up at 6 a.m. running with the dogs, putting it on Instagram.
And I got to be up to get the kids to school and go to work.
Yeah, I got to do the same thing. That's fine. Yeah. I'll be dead exhausted in the morning because I know parts of my outfit are watching. So, hi, guys. If you're watching from Blink, hello. Good to see you.
Okay.
What's your favorite bargain bin? Because we were talking about the 25-cent cheap bin of comics that we all had to go to when we were kids. What's your favorite bargain bin superhero that nobody knows, or villain that nobody knows about?
Oh, wow. That's a good question.
I pulled up mine when I got this question. Yeah. Like mine is Slapstick, which is a Marvel character nobody knows.
Oh, you're right. Right. Yeah, no, I know Slapstick. I'm trying to think of somebody good, man. But I also want to be funny about it.
Straight up just holding this here and you're not even seeing it.
It's a Silverhawks. It's Silverhawks.
Oh, Silverhawks. Oh yeah,
Star Comics.
I mean, how dope is that? In Super, and Super 7 actually holds a license to Silverhawks. There's an Ultimates Silverhawks situation.
Yeah, I'm afraid of what I've seen so far.
What did I do?
No, I'm afraid of what I've seen of the head scans. I'm waiting to see the finals before I buy them, because I saw the digital render and then I saw the final, and I think they went back to the factory on them and had the heads redone on Quicksilver. That's a story for another day. We can talk about that off air.
Okay.
I'm picky. Right. I'm very picky with Silverhawks.
Apparently, yes, which is great. What else we got?
So did we pick a really one-off villain? Okay, Boba Fett's great. Everybody loves Boba Fett.
Yeah, Charizard for Micronauts. How's that?
Micronauts?
Yeah, I haven't thought about Micronauts in a minute.
Those guys.
You might as well have also just said Rom the Space Knight.
Yeah, but I don't consider Rom that obscure.
Frank
I
Miller,
consider Rom is caught in like the phantom zone where he can't kind of flourish in a Marvel comic or a Marvel universe because he's owned by somebody else, and he's a cool creation that kind of just fluctuates between different property, different. I feel like Czarface is kind of like a Rom Jr.
Nice.
Good comparison. I'm a Rom guy, so
yeah, I love Rom. Kidding me?
All right, we got I think 2 more in the chat. This one comes from Nerd Affiliated. I lost it. If you could make your dream collab song, who fills these spots? Dead or Alive, lead off, hook, second verse, and final verse, of course.
Jeez.
It's a big one.
What? Name 3 rappers that I want that
you would collab with on one track.
Oh, jeez. People ask me this question all the time, and it's one of those things where it's like Inspector Deck would be one of my answers. You know what I mean? I've just made all these records with him, so it's like he would lead off first, and somebody like Ghostface would be part of that track, and we've made records with him. And Doom, it's I think Jay-Z, man. But newer guys, man, I like Denzel Curry a lot. I like Logic. I guess I can't. Pharoah Monch, if I'm going back a little bit, who's just still killing shit today. There's so many artists, but to come up with 3, I mean, Big L, Guru, a lot of artists.
We could do a whole.
See, I had my own last question too.
All right, Jay, finish us off.
I know you listen to a lot of newer artists too now and there. Who are the new ones, the next generations that people should be paying attention to?
Yeah, I feel like the people might know more than I do because I got my head like buried in the sand trying to make our own stuff, and I feel like a lot of the things that I say, I'm out of touch. People are onto newer MCs that I don't even know about. I listen to Sleaford Mods, man, and that's kind of like a hybrid of a hip hop outfit. I feel like the frontman, Jason Williams, and the way he rants kind of with a British accent, which I like. I like his lyrics a lot. But newer MCs, this is embarrassing. I'm trying to think of somebody that's super new.
I'll give you somebody you put me on to. I don't know how new he is, but Crime Apple.
Oh, Crime Apple. Yeah, thank you.
Yep,
thank you so much. That's a great
Mega
one.
Mega Ran in the chat.
I love him, man.
Yeah, Mega Ran's in the chat.
Yeah, Mega Ran is
love him.
Mega Ran's I'm very big into nerdcore.
Yeah, we love Mega Ran.
So Mega Ran would be able to hold his own with all this type of conversation that we're having now, and he would be a guy, but he's been in the game for a long time, just like we have. So I wouldn't consider him new, but I would consider him, on the same kind of tier as we are in terms of this, where you could hear a record where you're going to reference, somebody from Jet Jaguar to, I don't know, if there's a new video game or a new series coming out, I know Mega Ran's going to have a freestyle about it the next day. So you got to be really fast. You got to be on
him
quick,
and
you know what I mean?
This dude, Dan Bull, both. You can rely on them both to just release a track about the newest game.
Yeah. I know Mega Man dropped a verse about the Marvel Snap joint the other day. I was like, oh shit.
Play that.
I was on his last record. But he had the joint, the tractor beam joint that was on Clerks 3, which was just
was him?
So dope.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
By the way, thanks for noticing my my latest crack addiction, Marvel Snap.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Did
you hear the Mega Ran joint?
I did.
Dude, Mega Ran's performed at PAX before.
Okay.
Yeah, Mega Ran's been at PAX before performing.
Yeah, I feel like that's like his home.
We're gonna have
that's
to
like
drag
his
you
territory.
to PAX now. You're gonna have to go.
I'm planning a trip to Boston for PAX next year, Billy.
We'll talk about that off air. Let's wrap up so Eso can go to bed and be the world's greatest dad. Guys, how about this?
Does it feel like I'm?
No, well, I know how early you get up. How about this?
He knows. Look, Esso. Let him blame me instead. He knows that we're already 30 minutes past my old man bedtime.
Listen, how about this? Chat, do you
Does
guys
it look like I'm drifting?
No, but I know you got to get up early. You got kids. Listen, how about this? Chat, do you guys want to see Esoteric back on the Brand Show? Leave me something in the chat if you do.
Don't do this. I can't read the chat. I feel like I can't read anything.
Here, I'll do.
What are they gonna do? Go, oh, I don't want to see it. I don't like numbers. I don't like.
I'll show you my chat right now, so that way you can see. Guys, is the Pope Catholic? That's a good enough answer. That's all I needed. All right, guys. Well, how about this? Look at that. See, everybody's saying yes. There.
If you think that I can see that screen from here, I couldn't even see the figures you're
We've
holding
already
up.
explained he's on a phone.
All right,
Yeah.
ready? I'm just going to read the comments to you. Small says yes because he couldn't be on the air tonight.
That's fine.
T-Money
Smalls doesn't need to be here next time anyway.
T-Money says yes.
Co-workers and comments to me. It's got to be like outside realm people.
Basically, everybody in the chat is saying they want to see you back on the show.
Smalls is the only one that's a
polite.
coworker.
No, they're not being polite. They're being serious, man. If they were being polite, man, people aren't polite around here. Did you see what Retro Blasting said about us? They said we were the worst podcast on the internet, and
I literally spend half my days on social media talking shit on half of the staff here publicly. We're not nice.
Okay. Okay.
And by half the staff, I mean Smalls specifically. Fuck you.
Yeah. All right. With that being said, guys, this is the Brand Show, episode 7. Esoteric's in the house. We're going to let him go to bed and take his 1993 Toy Biz Wolverine with him so that way he sleeps and has adamantium dreams. For Zero and for Smalls, who's not here tonight, Smalls, we love you. So thanks for being with us. And yes, he'll be back. I promise. As long as I can book him again, I will totally book him again. But that's
you can. I'll be well rested, hydrated, and ready to.
We just got to do it not right after trick or treat.
Yeah, we'll not do it next time right after trick or treat. We'll plan something for mid 2023, maybe right after Danhausen. Oh shit! Did I say that out loud?
Good. Oh, you have Danhausen. Okay.
Yeah,
right.
I
like that.
You got to check your DMs. All right, guys. For the Brand Show, my name's Billy Nichols. I am the Brand. Call me Quicksilver. Just don't call me late to lunch. That's Esoteric from Czarface, and that's the 0 Hour Hero. We'll see you guys on the 15th with Arif Eskinchen, a.k.a. Pierce from Saints Row. But good night. Be safe. Walk safely to your bedrooms. Go to bed. Get some sleep. Get some sweet dreams, whatever. I'm fading over here, too, because I'm out of caffeine. But good night, and see you next time.
Peace.
You don't like the lights, but it's camera time. Said take the picture, but you rolled your eyes. Now I'm mortified and still terrorized. Push me behind to get me from my better side. I wanna push you back, but that's all you want. Wanna wrap me up, I'm holding back. Tryna get me framed, throw me in cuffs. Said I attacked you, that's just a false truth. No need to argue.